that, show me subscribe.
Make no mistake, we're the only black people in y'all that only eat rat, eat cat people. You ain't black, you ain't that. Matter of fact, your black is repo, I'm taking it back. Cause y'all making it whack, faking jacks y'all from the slave, raiding the tax. Bitch, we built the foundation, our innovations were groundbreaking. Y'all ain't wanna get down, now you're around, hating, faking, with the lineage in and out, the ground shaking. Someone say, FBA, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say, Someone say, FBA, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say, Make no mistake, we're the only black people and y'all the only eat rat, eat cat people. You ain't black, you ain't that. Matter of fact, your black is repo, I'm taking it back. Cause y'all making it whack, faking jacks y'all from the slave, raiding the tax. Breaks, pause, we built the foundation, our innovations were groundbreaking. Y'all ain't wanna get down, now you around, hating, faking, with the lineage eating, now the ground shaking. Someone say, FBA, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say, Someone say, FBA, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say,
African Americans prioritize blackness isn't necessarily the same way in which an immigrant would prioritize their blackness. So, you know how African Americans will say, oh, black writer, black creator, black artist, black lawyer, black doctor, black woman in STEM? No, when we come to this country, it's immigrant or nationality, maybe our careers next, and then whatever else comes after that. So immigrant, Jamaican, marketer, whatever else comes after that. The issue that you're having is we don't see ourselves as one of you. And the reason that we don't see ourselves as one of you is not because of blackness. We just see ourselves as an outsider.
The issue that you're having is we don't see ourselves as one of you. And the reason that we don't see ourselves as one of you is not because of blackness. We just see ourselves as an outsider.
So now let's move forward. So as an immigrant, I'm here in this country. What do I want to do? Put my best foot forward. What do my parents want to do? Put their best foot forward and give us the best opportunity they possibly can. Thank you, Lord, for my parents because they did exactly that. But it's my turn as their child to hold the baton. And one thing I always say, my parents did not risk their lives to get to America for me to get involved in some political warfare. My parents did not risk their lives for me to get to America, for me to sit here fighting people all day. That makes absolutely no sense. And I think because you guys have never taken that level of a risk, you don't understand that level of responsibility and accountability. That's really the problem here. Because if you really risk your lives to have something, if you really risk your life to get something, you're not willing and ready to throw it away.
You're just fully American. You're African American, bro. That's it. How was that see you in 30? That wasn't an insult. That was strictly, you're black. You're not Trinidadian. You're not Jamaican. You're not African. You're not, word.
Now, what do you think about the Black American culture?
Fucked up. I'm sorry. Is it like okay, the fucked up humanity group that's Black Americans, yeah. And I actually feel bad for saying that. It's true. I know it's true.
Now, why do you believe that?
Because they mostly don't belong where they are. They're Americans. We all know they're Americans. They know they're Americans, but they don't belong there because they are minor. One for that. They are minor, and the racism and everything. They don't belong there actually. So they belong here, and they are not here. So they are fucked up.
What's going on, guys? This is Okako, and this is the African Vanguard. I want to come out here and say that I'm sorry to FBA community by suggesting that FBA individuals who identify as FBA Foundation of Black Americans are themselves racist against Black immigrants.
I'm on mute talking. Zo, peace, bro. You can unmute. Whenever you're ready, Zo, let me know. You can unmute, Zo. All right, well, when you're ready, just let me know.
I want to say that I'm sorry for saying that, and I deeply, genuinely, Black American that's FBA to FBA community by suggesting that FBA individuals who identify as FBA Foundation of Black Americans are themselves racist against Black immigrants.
Yeah, but why would you? What draw that conclusion? Like, what absolutely drew that conclusion? It was like projection. It's something you wanted to believe. You never talked to us. As a matter of fact, family, I still reached out to him today, and I said, oh, I didn't even start it. There you go. I said, we'll truly accept your apology when you agree to speak to one of us directly. What does what does and I meant to say why. Why do? Okay, yeah, that's why I wasn't really. Let me just end it with this. Yeah, Zoe, you couldn't come off mute for that reason, so just click back in when you're ready.
I want to say that I'm sorry for saying that, and I deeply, genuinely apologize. I think I was saying that out of emotional sort of.
Yeah, but what got you in your emotions though? Because we want to delineate. No, not want to, because we are delineating. Like, why does why do they care? Oh, you guys are delineating. Oh my God, you guys want to make yourself distinct. Zoe, you ready?
Yeah, Lo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I get you now. Yep.
Okay. Now, I wanted to. I was trying to tap in with you about Marcus Garvey.
Yeah, go ahead.
And again, I understand, like where people are coming from with Marcus Garvey. I do think that in history, a one-sided view has been painted of him. Like, people don't tell the whole story about Marcus Garvey and having people shot, and him being shot and stabbed, and
Right.
Marcus Garvey, the negative part of Marcus Garvey's personality and leadership,
Right.
and the logistics. So I understand people that in the sake of I guess you would say presenting the truth, they give you the whole story, and you see that Marcus Garvey had certain personality hangups and psychological issues that didn't allow him to be the right type of leader. But the reason why I defend, I guess you say non-FBA people, but people that still had FBA at I'll say it, still had FBA, or how would I say, still had the best viewpoint or the best mindset or wanted to keep certain things about the FBA culture, like a C. Dolores Tucker, who was, I believe she was a Bahamian, but she didn't like the image of gangster rap and where that would lead our minds and morals, and she stood on that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like with Marcus Garvey, even though, okay, maybe like the back to Africa thing was escapism, if you read his book Philosophies and Opinions, we have to understand the type of leadership that was out there. And from my studies, you have to understand that certain people, even though they might have been abolitionists, even though they might have been people who fought to end Jim Crow, they didn't necessarily have the best interests of the black community
Like who?
in mind. You said what now?
Like who?
Well, I'm saying we talking as far as the people who fought for Jim Crow or the people, the abolitionist people.
Yeah, the abolitionists. Well, if you're saying abolitionists, I thought that only applied to slavery, but if when it came to Jim Crow, you're talking about civil rights activists.
Right. I'm talking about a lot of your first, second, and third tier civic leaders who, even though, and again, I give a Philip Randolph his respect. I give Charles Hamilton Houston his respect. I give James Farmer their respects, and Julian Bond and Wyatt T. Walker, and the
Yeah,
the
but
list goes on.
which one of them? Okay, so what civil rights activists didn't have the best interest in FBA?
Well, I'm saying that okay, they wanted the end of Jim Crow, and
Right.
Jim Crow should have ended. But if you go and you read their works, if somebody says that Jim Crow should end, that the Negro should not be disenfranchised and should not be held up under these laws, but then you don't believe in a black community, or you don't
Who
believe
don't?
in,
Who don't?
well, like I said, Martin Luther King, he did not believe in the black
No,
community.
he was assassinated, bro. He never experienced post Jim Crow.
Well, no, I'm saying if you go in his writings in 1968, where do we go from here? Chaos or community?
Right.
Martin Luther King, he says in the book that the black community, or what they call it, the Negro ghetto, it should be made satisfactory. You should have brand new housing. You should,
Right.
everybody should be geared.
Because of zoning laws, right? Because of zoning laws and restricted covenants. Though, and I think it's called there's another term, family, where they had us living on top of each other. I'll get that term for you later. Right. So because of those
Right.
marginalized rules, it kept the rich, the wealthy amongst us living with the poorest person. So so we didn't have the ability to expand our wings like every other civilized person in America, right? So the black ghetto shouldn't have been a black ghetto. It should have been something naturally. It should have happened naturally. It shouldn't have happened because somebody forced it to happen through Jim Crow laws. But so yes, so what I believe what he's talking about. Like for example, have you seen my video on Soul City?
No, I had to check it out. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, that's 1970s though. That's like late 1970s, where there was a pre-planned. There was a lot of pre-planned cities. I think there was like 10 total, and one was black. So out of 10, one was black. They were pre-planned cities that's funded by government grants and things like that. It's called Soul City, and one was dedicated to, I forgot the black dude, that civil rights activist, by the way, that campaigned for a black city. And the bottom line is that all the cities beside the black one, ended up successful, and because ours were attacked by white conservative media, uh, presidential, and politicians caved into the pressures of media and just stopped funding it and sabotaged it. So when it comes to Dr. King, and you really ain't say too much because I'm a guru. I'm a fact check you right away to see what you're saying is true. I'm like ready to type it all in. Uh, Dr. King was, as far as I know, he was for resources. You heard him talk about cutting a check. This is before he was assassinated. He talked about going to Washington, cutting a check. He started saying, leading his people to a burning house. So we see the language he's using, like, because he realized that when it comes to intangibles, the white man like, okay, yeah, he's all for it. He realized that when it comes to tangible things, the white man was giving him pushback. So that's why he spoke about the
Well,
land. Wait, just one thing. Okay, but you got to listen so we can learn together and not just to respond. So he talked about the land grants, right? That white folks received 1862 Homestead Act. So he was saying all these tangibles were given to white people, and we just receive intangibles, and we're told to pull up our bootstraps. That was the whole, pretty much message. So that was the Dr. King before the assassination. But go ahead.
Well, okay, and I just, not to cut you off, I wanted to answer the point where you talked about the cutting the check thing.
Yeah.
Okay, when Martin Luther King, this could be fact checked. He didn't he wanted to go get checks for everybody. Like, if you look at he did a interview. I had it pulled up when we called him, but he wanted to get checks for Puerto Ricans. You know, yeah, he had things for the Negro, but it was also for others. And what was the other point you said? You said about the homestead and the land grants.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing about it, okay, that's where I was bringing up the where do we go from here, community or chaos? If you look at that, he said that and you can go right there and look at it. He said that the black community should just be made satisfactory, right? That you had these issues, in the black community, due to overcrowding in these different situations that you had, that the black community should be made satisfactory. You should have sound housing, programs for children, parks, these different type of things. But that the black community should not be built up as to stifle social integration, and that social integration was the goal. So if you look at when he signed the freedom budget, when it was A. Philip Randolph, Bayard Rustin, these different type of people, they believed, and he is right there, and if you read it, that we should be made one people with white America, right, and that you use socialist programs to uplift the underprivileged and disenfranchised. So it was never, his thing was never about a separate black community or
no, no, of course not. He's not separatist, right? That was the
right,
Nation
right,
of Islam and the Garvey movement. But let's back up for a second. Peace to Alexis Berry for the $10 super chat. Let's back up because you said something about Marcus Garvey and leadership, right?
Well, okay, I guess not to get too far out. Okay, when I talk about Marcus Garvey,
No, I just want to respond. Wait, I just want to respond because I'm saying, like, you had said Marcus Garvey, and you said something with leadership. You used those two in the same sentence, right?
No, yeah, I was saying that people don't tell the whole story about the negative side of Marcus Garvey and his issues and his and
Yeah, no, I
what
got
got
that
him
part,
out of America.
but after that, you said something about leadership with Marcus Garvey. So I just wanted to say to you that we never coveted one leader. Okay, that's something Marcus Garvey came out of nowhere with. That was never our history where we had one person lead us. Nobody took on that role except, even when he came on the scene, we had civil rights activists, plural. We had black leaders, plural. We never had one leader for the black race. So when he came on the scene, he was trying to be that leader. So he was coming with a colonial mindset. I don't know what he's coming with, but he's coming with something that's foreign to what we're used to experiencing here in America.
Right, exactly, 100%. That's what got him. That's when they Randolph and Weldon, they had the nativist movement. His boy, who was his boy?
Hubert Harrison.
Yeah, Hubert Harrison. He got to go.
Before all that, the fact that he came to America as a foreigner and did not associate himself or attach himself with anything already existing, for him to come with the entitlement, which they do now, and say, "Hey, I don't know what's going on in America. I don't care. I'm from a colonial country, not even a country based on slavery. I'm from a colonial country, and this is the answer to a problem that I had no idea that you have." Because we were dealing with racism, another racism. They didn't deal with that in Jamaica. They were all black. They had no racism. That's why they had no black, nothing. And we were the only people that had the black something. We were the only people dealing with actual racism. Everybody else had colonizers who ran the country from the outside, but they were like invisible rulers. That's what colonization basically is. They're not really present like that. Definitely not in your
Right,
day-to-day activities.
right. Now, I agree 100%.
Right. So, so I'm saying, so when he came on the scene with that, he already was on everybody's radar. Like, who the fuck? Who's Jamaican? Man, what is he talking about? So, and then he started to talk about back to Africa and stocks, selling stocks, and then that's when he lost everybody. We like, yo, who the fuck is? Like Conor McGregor said, who the f is that guy? You know, and that was the attitude from that point on. Even Jago Hoover was like, even white journalists was like, who's this guy? Like everybody was just
Right,
shocked. Like, where's
right.
this guy come from? So some people see him as an agent, you know, whatever. But so your overall point of Dr. King was he was no good for Black America.
No. I'm so okay to bring it back to Marcus Garvey, or when I talk about, because I'm pretty much referencing, because Marcus Garvey, he fell up under, like the Booker T. Washingtons and the Isaiah Thomas
No,
Montgomery and the
no,
Emmett Scott
he ain't
and them
fall
type of
nothing
guys.
with Booker T. Booker T. Watts actually built an institution the right way. He went to the rich. He didn't go to poor people for money. He went to which you're supposed to do if you're serious about something. You go to the rich for money. So he was just like us. So we're going to the American government for reparations. We're not going to Ghana for money. We're going to, even though they owe us, but we're going to the wealth for wealth. So Booker T. Washington went to the wealth for wealth. What Marcus Garvey is supposed to go to the wealth for wealth. Why are you asking the poor people to fund your fantasy? Hardworking people, you know, scrambling for every penny, and you're asking them to fund your fantasy.
Well, no, Booker T. Washington. Yes, he did have a long list of white philanthropists and I guess you say industrialists that did fund the school, did fund his projects. But I
Yeah,
mean,
a lot
even
of
with
wealthy
the
ones.
Royal School, he still went and and made the black community raise $4.4 million to match Rosenwald's $4 million grant towards the school. So I mean, Booker T. Washington always wanted to make black people independent people that understood self-help and self-development and these different type of things. I'm just simply stating the fact that that side with Booker T. Washington, Garvey, the Thomas family, Tennis Campbell, all them guys on that side, they always represented a message and a direction that represented a certain level of cultural integrity. Because if you look at his book, he talked about a lot of things that now when you see what the philosophy that went out in black society, where you kind of went away from community or you went away from different things. These were the things of the black liberal thinking, the Du Bois and all these different type of people. So I'm saying that as far as Marcus Garvey, somebody that wanted to keep your cultural integrity, that wanted to make you independent, that
No, no, no. Hey,
all those
but you can't
values.
make somebody. No. That's garbage. Garvey didn't make us independent. Garvey made himself
No.
independent.
I'm not saying he did. No. Listen, I'm not saying that he did. I'm saying that the things that he and that side believed in, that side of the fence believed in, of again self-help, self-development, cultural integrity. These things were different than what was on the right, on the William Whippets and on down the line, where
Yeah,
it's
those are
our
fantasy though. But those are fantasy. You can't be stripped of all your wealth, burn down your cities, run highways through them, and then say self help. That's the Pan Africanist bullshit now. That Dr. Amos Wilson was talking about self reparations. What the fuck is that? No, we're owed a debt, and we're only behind. We're only behind white folks because we were systemic racism, which is to hold one side down while you lift the other side up. Okay, so we're only down. We're not down because of lack of self help, brother. We had self help that was sabotaged, that was undermined. We were killed. We were uh, discouraged from that in all ways possible. And then when they take all the wealth from us and we get it back and they take it again and we get it back, they kill us and burn us down, and then say, okay, self-help. Like that's not how that goes. No, you know, we're so far behind now, behind the line where the only way to catch back up in a realistic time frame is reparations. And there's no self-help, nothing. We're talking about $388,000 per household to our $25,000 per household. 388,000 to $25,000, bro.
Well,
Come on, man.
I understand what you're saying, but
Yeah, no,
my
that's
you
that
don't have a coach.
Pan-Africanist self-help. No,
No,
we,
no,
we, we got
that
coach. No, we got. Hey, bro, that's
hold
my
on, no,
opinion.
no,
This
you
this
hold on,
cultural.
don't hold on. And we building beautifully. Let me just get the thought out.
I don't know about that.
If I say if you don't have a culture, then you cut me off. Then I'm looking at it like we don't have culture. No, I'm saying let me just finish the sentence. I'm saying that if you can push whatever legislation you want to push, you can get all type of legislation pushed. You can get all type of money, all type of races, all these different type of things. But if your culture is not invested in thrift, in entrepreneurship, in ownership, in values and principles, in marriage, and these different type of things that grow your wealth, these are monies
Nah,
that's going to right
that's
back
a
away from you.
conservative talk. Yeah, nah, that's garbage. That's garbage. Conservative talk.
Well,
That whole marriage thing. Wait, how are we getting marriage when our men is being thrown in prisons, being killed, unemployed? You know, yeah. So family, let me help us do that. You're not getting married if you're unemployed, and you're not getting married if you're in prison. So, systemic racism makes sure we're unemployed. They make sure we're in prison. No woman is going to marry a guy or make him part of the household when he can't be there, or he can't even financially support the household. That's not going to happen, bro. So, but you're like really coming off like really conservative-ish, like really. But you go ahead. But you go ahead
well,
with your conservatism. Go
no,
ahead.
no. I mean, again, my thing, like I said before, is that the Garveys and these different type of people, and even responsible leadership in the South, in the 1860s, in the 1870s, that was the leading mindset. If you look at what won out in Black culture, with the Du Bois and on down that line, at the end of the day, being real, these people did not believe in cultural integrity. They did not believe in the Black community. They did not believe in really us having anything separate. So it's like, okay, well, you get your freedom, but you know, as far as where you might be in 60 years is amalgamation and integration in a white society, then is that a victory? So
Yeah, yeah.
that's my thing.
No,
If
it
you're
is.
not even the people,
No. You asked the question. It is. You see, because you're under this separatist mindset where black folks have to live just with black folks, and I'm saying that's your right if you want to, but if you wanted to live in New York or California where it's mixed, you have that right too. Like nobody gonna force somebody to live separate. Like you have to live in a black enclave. No, like you. This is America. This is our country too. We have the right to mix, mingle, and yeah. But all that black enclave, blackity black talk, like somebody said in the chat, this is not the 1900s. This is
well, that's
20,000.
true. And again, that's true.
Yeah.
And
So you gotta
that's
evolve, bro. You gotta adapt
100%
to
true.
time.
No, that's like I said before, that's 100% true. So, like I said, if a person tells me at the end of the day that what they believe in, then I accept that to be the case. I accept that to be the case. If a person tells me at the end of the day that, hey, whatever, if you don't have, if you're not a people if your culture and your community just doesn't make it out the 21st century, then I accept that. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna fight with you. Like I said, if you don't have a culture that was built to last, outside of a certain reality, then I won't even. I have no problem with that. I just
What's your
was
thoughts on
simply stating,
reparations?
huh?
What's your thoughts on reparations?
Well, I mean, my thoughts on reparations is that, I mean, if it happened, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. At the end of the day, I mean, you have to have a sound, world outlook to make any type of money work for you. So it's like if you get the money and if I get some money and all I can fulfill is, my nigga man fantasies, then to me, all whatever, you know what I'm
Yeah, no,
saying?
but
But
that's actually debunked with the PPP loans. So somebody did a study where black people who got PPP loans, they actually expanded their businesses. So that whole stereotype that black folks get the money and buy Cadillacs, that's been debunked with the PPP loans. We got the loans, and we expanded our businesses. So that's another thing that's coming off like the wrong way. Like you have this conservative mindset on FBAs that, first of all, mind your business. That's one. If somebody want to get their money and blow it on a kilo of coke or whatever, boatload of coke, that's their prerogative. That's their business. The Asians weren't committed to something before they got their money. Neither was the Jewish Holocaust survivors or survivors or descendants, Native Americans. Nobody was held to a responsibility. Get the money, you have to invest it in stocks and bonds. No, you get the money, do what the fuck you want with it.
exactly.
Okay, yeah. So what you just said made no sense. Just make sure
I'm
when you
saying what
get,
you're saying. I'm saying
just
if
make
I want to
sure
get
if
my
you get
money
your
to
money,
do what I want to do with it.
yeah, right,
Right.
but the next man,
100% agree with you.
that's none of your business. The next man,
Right. I 100% agree with you.
yeah,
I'm not
I don't
I'm not
understand.
beefing with nobody to want to do what they want to do with their money at
Right.
all. I never told the man what to do with his money. That's not my prerogative. I just was simply stating that, okay, if like if you came from a certain reality and maybe your worldview was cultivated, you know in a to have a certain worldview, and you maybe had somebody that was trying to come and I guess you would say bring a free world reality where you can see the world as a free people, and
Like
how
who?
free culture
Who
works. I
I
just
missed
I,
that.
I just was always going to ride with that side.
Who was bringing that free world message that you know of?
I mean, I always fitted in with the Booker T. Washingtons and the people along his line. You
The
know,
the
and the
the
people of
pulling the
value,
bootstrap,
building the community of value. You said what now?
the bootstrap guys. Let me ask you this: which how is important is it for us to self-identify to delineate?
I mean, I think it's important politically. I think if your ancestors or your people went through a certain situation, then had dogs stuck on you, water hose stuck on you, I don't think that somebody that just got here, a Johnny come lately, should be able to come here and eat off your plate. So if we go half, if we all put on $1 on a lottery ticket, and another person come in and put a penny, ain't no splitting it equal. So I believe in delineation and your own separate thing.
Wait 1 second. Let me respond to vilify nation of immigrants. Uh, they said, when did the Supreme Court say this? Vilify nation of immigrants. It always was that was always the case. All reparations cases were lineage based. Not one wasn't. So that was it's not something new. It just pointed out. That's all. It just emphasizes, highlighted today because we don't know that. But all of reparation claims that were won or paid out were lineage based. By the way, um, what's your thoughts on welfare, good or bad, for Black people?
We had that discussion already. You know what I'm saying with that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Wait, yeah, go ahead. What you gonna say again? Yeah, because I'm asking you questions because I already know you are hard right. That's why I asked you the conservative questions. Like I already, like when people talk to me and they say a few things, I could pinpoint their mindset, and I'm just asking questions to confirm my suspicions. Yeah, you confirm. It's all good. Like you said, we already had that conversation. No need to go
yeah.
back. But yeah, but then what's the point in bringing up the same old arguments? So Booker T, all the bootstrap guys. Um, uh, let me see. Yeah, let me see. Let me see if there's something else that. Oh, do you believe systemic racism is real and alive today?
Mm,
You're pretty quiet.
no.
So you don't believe? Okay, hold on. Let me repeat the question again.
Mhm.
Do you believe systemic racism is alive and well today?
No.
Okay, when did it end? Well, no. The first question. Sorry, I jumped ahead. Was it ever alive and well?
I mean, of course, it was written in the law.
Okay, when did it end? Wait. Wait. So you believe systemic racism is always written in law?
No, I said that.
Okay.
I, s-
Okay.
it's.
So when did it end?
hmm
So
Well,
when see family, I know a question to ask. Okay. So now when did it end? If it was alive and well, and it's not
mhm,
alive and well today, so then now
it's
the
not.
most important question, the obvious question is when did it end?
Well, the civic leaders went to Washington and fought for legislation that would expand the black middle class, that would strike down those laws. It ended at
So
from
wait,
the,
wait,
from
hold,
there
hold
on.
on.
Think of something.
Wait,
Let
wait,
me
wait,
let
wait.
me just finish.
No. I gotta stop you. I can't let you poison my chat. Systemic racism. Do you think that's only written in laws? It doesn't carry. So okay. So a white person at a bank who just denied me a loan during segregation. Now the law is struck down. She still worked
Mhm,
there.
mhm.
She still worked there. Now is she going to also approve the next black person, or is she going to abide by the law?
Well, now here's the common sense approach to that, right? And I love when the and I'm not saying that you this, but I just refer to y'all as the Marxist Negroes. I said that when you're not approved.
Yeah, it's nothing else. Family. I expose this guy. He's a clown. Let me block him from the chat. Get out of here, dude. This dude says systemic racism and family. I know what questions to ask these guys. I was asking welfare. He said where we went down that road. Okay, no need to go down the road twice. I'm about progression and evolution evolving. So I said, okay, let me ask another conservative question. Does systemic racism, is it alive and well today? He said no. And wait, first I asked, was it ever around? That's the easy one. He said yes. Most will say yes. Then I said, okay, is it alive and well today? He said no. Okay, so no need to be in my chat. I mean, well, why are you even here then? See, family, we got the agents in the chat. We know systemic racism is alive and well today, and it's holding us back from being great. That's why I said. That's why he's trying to champion Booker T. Wise and all these bootstrap dudes, Marcus Garvey, family. They can't get past me, man. I'm battle tested. I'm well learned. I'm well studied. I know the arguments. I knew immediately he was a conservative, and he's the worst kind. He's a Larry Elder, Thomas Sowell type of conservative. You know, the offers of Tatum's. So yeah, it's no need to continue with him. Be gone, dude. You will never be able to chat here again. Any name you make up, I'm always delete you. And anytime you call in, I'm always block you. And I report you to Zoom too. So you can't even like. Hopefully you can't join the well Zoom. I definitely reported you to Zoom. You're a troll. All right. Okay. So he was begging to call in yesterday for that. All right. So now here's this tether apology again.
What's going on, guys? This is Okako, and this is the African Vanguard. I wanted to come out here and say that I'm sorry to FBA community by suggesting that FBA individuals who identify as FBA Foundation of Black Americans are themselves racist against Black immigrants. I want to say that I'm sorry for saying that, and I deeply, genuinely apologize. I think I was saying that out of emotional sort of I just wasn't thinking. Okay, so deeply and genuinely, I'm sorry. So I think the reason why I said it, as idiotic as it was to have said that, is because I understand, and I'm not suggesting that anybody is stupid by not seeing at least what I see. I see the movements and the founder of FBA, and as well as the founder for ADOS, to be echoing a lot of narratives coming from white supremacists, very anti-immigrant and the likes. So if it's a situation, as I understand, it's a situation that foundational Black Americans, Black America, that has this long history and strong culture, and it's the leader of just all Africans, all African-based individuals. But if it's the reason and the cause that FBA strictly wants to say, hey, okay, we are foundational Black Americans, we are Americans that are here and suffered under the plight of slavery and subsequently freed yourselves and subsequently paved the way for African immigrants to come to the States and make, great things of themselves, while at the same time trying to extend a handout to help immigrants and all these things. And then these immigrants, my family.
Yeah, melanated righteously, is that you? Make sure I'm tagging. Yeah. Click the link or I gotta block you. You got until 1 minute. Okay, so I'm gonna give you to 11:28. Melanated righteously to click the link, or I gotta block you. Okay. Let me get your name in my scope so I can block you. Okay, 1 minute. All right, bye-bye. You can still click the link. I'm gonna block you, but you still can click it and I'll unblock you. All right, but you're out of here for now. Okay, there you go. Goodbye. So let me answer the questions from that tether. Family, it's a simple answer. When tethers and white supremacists try to hold what we're doing to full perfection in just 7 years, just that's it. So you expect us to have all of our ducks lined up in just 7 years? How long you think we start? ADOS and FBA is no more than 7-8 years long. That's it. Family, when the Tea Party got started, it was chaos. It was unorganized. Family, most movements like this, revolutionary ideas like this, it takes a while. It takes a while to get everything in order where it's an official, force. We are still figuring things out day to day. We're not even asking for paperwork to see who's actually FBA just yet. And they're trying to hold us to perfection. Yeah, Rome wasn't built in 7 years. Yeah, so anytime somebody asks those dumbass questions, you can politely let them know Rome was built in 7 years, or every revolutionary thought takes a while to get, organized. We are working things out still. So no, you're not gonna hold us to perfection in 7-8 years. No, we have 100 years. We were locked out and blocked out for 100 years. We have 100 years to get it right and perfect it. You're not gonna hold us to 7, 8, 10 years. Got his dumb ass up out of here.
Myself included, subsequently were mistreating you. And all you want generally is to have that recognition that this is your ethnicity.
Okay, so I reject your apology, and I asked this guy to click. I asked this guy to join my panel.
Whatsoever.
That's the only way we will consider. I got a notification. Maybe this is him. Nothing. Okay, so that reminded me. Check this out, family. I got my son asleep, so I ain't trying to wake him up. But check this out right here, family. So it looks like somebody else wrote. I guess you guys, hey family, I encourage you guys, go to Truth to Power Talk, Dr. Mayat. Just type in Dr. MAAT and voice your opinions to her. Let her know how dissatisfied you are with her anti-FBA rhetoric. She's got a platform for all the haters. So this dude right here said, or a woman, whoever this is, said, why do you shoot down comments that criticize your content as poor comprehension? That is beneath you, Sister Dr. Maya. You did let this brother You did let this brother disrespect FBA ADOS, and you did let him glaze Pan-Africanism. So he's speaking about, I guess, Amawali. So she said most of the criticisms come from people who have poor listening comprehension and do not study scholarly work. So everybody who criticized her for her guests have poor comprehension skills. It isn't beneath me to recognize this. They simply parrot talking points from their favorite YouTube personalities. My guests are free to express their views on my platform, yes, but she was giving Sandy Darity some pushback. Just because you don't see here pushback doesn't mean there isn't any. Wait, if we don't see it or hear it, that means it ain't none. You aren't privy to every discussion I have. Lastly, instead of reading YouTube comments, consider supporting and getting involved in grassroots initiatives. Be blessed. Yeah, listen, Dr. Mayat, you just burying yourself further and further and further. So I hope you can get those Pan-Africanists to support you, because FBA's Adolf Friedman ain't happening. Ain't happening. We are boycotting your ass. A permanent boycott. And every video she got getting on FBA Adolf Friedman, I'm going to cook her with a review. All right, get this guy out of here. This was an interesting view. Somebody sent me this link right here. Somebody from the chat. This is very interesting. I've asked ChatGPT, what if all Black Americans move to Africa? Okay, what if all Black Americans move to Africa? So let's see what this is about.
What would happen if every single Black American packed up and returned to Africa?
All right, okay, I didn't know she was African herself, but let's see if it's not too boring.
Sounds wild, right? Well, this isn't just me asking the question. Someone online actually put this scenario into ChatGPT, and the AI broke it down in a way that's hard to ignore. ChatGPT laid out the political, economic, and cultural consequences if such a mass departure were to happen. And honestly, the results are both shocking and eye-opening. Think about it. Black Americans, make up to 14% of the population, contributing to over $1.7 trillion annually.
That ain't right. Who said Raj from what's happening?
To the economy. They've shaped the US through culture, politics, and innovation. According to ChatGPT, their absence wouldn't just change America, it would completely transform the country's identity. So in this video, guys, I'm reacting to ChatGPT's take on this what if scenario, and we are going to unpack exactly what this AI revealed about America without Black Americans.
So, since there's so many of y'all on here talking about go back to Africa, you should go, blah, 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 I decided to ask ChatGPT, Chat, what would happen if all Black Americans left the U.S. and returned to Africa? And one thing ChatGPT do not do is lie, baby. So this is what ChatGPT said. This is food for thought for everybody who's saying go back to Africa. So first, Black Americans make up 14% of the U.S. population and contribute significantly to healthcare, education, sports, entertainment, government. And a sudden departure would create significant labor shortages. That's one. Two, Black Americans contribute over $1.7 trillion annually to the U.S. economy. A departure like that would create a sudden loss of economic power. 3, Black-owned businesses which employ millions of Americans would shut down or relocate, shifting the wealth to whatever country all of us went to.
All right, if this is some old glazing Africa shit, I'm gonna definitely skip past this.
Number 4. Now this one gonna really piss you off. This one gonna piss you off. Loss of cultural influence. Black Americans, and I quote, Black Americans have shaped U.S. culture through jazz, hip hop and blues, fashion, language, and sports. Their departure would significantly alter America's cultural identity.
Yeah, what is this? This some old glaze Africa bash America.
Of course, we know that there will be a shift in elections, particularly for the Democratic Party. There won't be a need for NAACP and Black Lives Matter. But here's where it gets good again. A decline in innovation. Blacks foster creativity and innovation. The loss of racial diversity could slow technological advances. See, y'all ancestors ain't tell y'all how sick y'all was. See, y'all before y'all found us, y'all was fighting each other. See, ain't nobody passed that information.
All right, let's just get past this. I want to get her assessment after all that.
One of the strongest voting blocs for the Democrat Party, often swing key, elections. Without them, ChatGPT suggests that the balance of power would tilt drastically toward Republicans. That means states that are usually competitive would suddenly become safe wins for one side. ChatGPT also highlighted the role of civil rights organizations. Without Black Americans, there would be no need for groups like the NAACP or Black Lives Matter. These institutions built on fight for justice and equality would disappear. That's not a loss for Black communities. It's a loss for Americans' broader civil rights progress. And the AI didn't stop there. It pointed out that Black Americans also serve in government, education and law, and even foreign policy. Their absence wouldn't just affect voting patterns. It would leave leadership gaps at the highest level of American life. But politics is only the beginning. ChatGPT's answer also digs into the economic and cultural fallout. Now, here's where ChatGPT's analysis gets even more striking, the economy. According to the AI, Black Americans pump over 1.7 trillion into the US economy every year. That number is massive. It's not just about consumer spending, it's about entrepreneurship, small businesses, and contributions across every industry. If this entire community left, America would face...
Super chat, Ghost Rider. Immigrants have always been weaponized by the U.S. government against FBA communities. Asians, African, Arabs don't set up business in white neighborhoods at all. And the first wave of immigrants were right after Emancipation Proclamation during Black Reconstruction. They brought all of those Irish and Italians over here to undermine and compete with us in the labor force, right? Shortly after when we were freed. But yeah, thanks for the super chat. Lineage love, Ghost Rider. Appreciate it. So the dude that called in earlier, Alfonso Morris, I was like trying to see where he's going. See, he confused me at first because I gave him a wrench. So I'm thinking he's FBA. So I'm thinking he's like giving tough criticism on our civil rights leaders, but I'm thinking it's coming from an honest, person, sincere person, at least sincere. And as he kept going, like he's like extra hard on Dr. King. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not like the average FBA ain't gonna be that hard on Dr. King. Oh nah, see, when he said get a check, he was talking about Puerto Ricans and like I don't know, I ain't fact checking, but I don't know about all that. And what else he say? He said Dr. King, like a couple things. I was gonna fact check it on the fly, but I decided not to. I said let me just poke at him to see if he's a conservative. Now he might be FBA. But he's an FBA coon. He's an FBA coon. It's a good chance he's a tether. Okay, a conservative tether. But either way, no matter if he's conservative coon, conservative tether, he's a conservative and he hates FBAs. Okay, just like Thomas Sowell, FBA, or no different than Myron Gaines. Once you go to become like a conservative who's out to undermine FBAs, we see you guys as the same. We don't make a distinction from conservative coon to conservative tether. But yes, I felt like, let me ask these conservative questions. And I asked welfare. He said, we already done that. So I said, let me ask about systemic racism. I know you're going to fall for this one. That's their kryptonite. And he kept pausing. I said, oh, yeah, I got him. Dude, I made him take off his hood.
Crippling labor shortages overnight. ChatGPT specifically pointed to healthcare and education. Imagine hospitals without Black doctors, nurses, and caregivers.
Okay, tell me about Africa, though.
Science and arts. Someone like Garrett Morgan gave us the traffic light. Katherine Johnson helped.
She said give us, like she's part of the lineage.
Launch. No Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, or LeBron James. No streetwear fashion that influenced the globe. Even American slang and style, the way people walk, talk, and express themselves would look completely different. The AI didn't hold back. Let me say this. This wasn't me saying all this. This was ChatGPT laying out the facts. And the conclusion it came to was pretty blunt. If Black Americans left, the United States would become politically imbalanced,
She said if Black. So basically, if foundation Black Americans fled America to move to Africa, this fantasy that they want to believe, hope happens one day, beat it. Okay, I'm trying to see. Okay, which one of these? Oh, laugh at this real fast. I'll be right back. Look at this fool.
In this video.
Okay, so he's competing for Papa, Prince of Pan-Africanism. Listen to this fool.
In this video, we're going to read the internal peace treaty for the global African diaspora. And I want to take a few seconds and tell y'all why this is so important. This generation of Black people who's living today, we have an opportunity to do something that our ancestors had no legal grounds or legal framework to do. We have the opportunity to create a supranational government. That means a nation of many nations. This legal structure is important and relevant to the African diaspora because there's a lot of different identities within the African diaspora and different groups who distinguish themselves from other groups within the diaspora. This is a very compliant and relevant framework for the psychological state of our people, and it gives a legal channel to respect each other's identities and move forward still as a collective. So this document is a part of the technology, the digital legislature technology that has been created by the African Diaspora Voters Education Board. And when you register within the supranational registry, when your account is approved, your signature goes on this document. So that's why I want to make a video where we read the entire document. It's 24 pages, and I know it's kind of long. That's why I think it's good that we do a video, because a lot of people may not take the time, or it may take people a long time to read this. So let's just read it together. Let's start right here, and then I'll add a little bit of commentary after I'm finished as well. Let's go with the preamble. We, the competent authorities of the global African diaspora, bound by the blood of our ancestors and awakened to the urgency of this hour, do solemnly declare our unified decision to reclaim our destiny, restore our dignity, and revive our civilization as a supranational people. We affirm our lineage as descendants of the first human families, the original people of Earth, born of divine intelligence and planetary stewardship. Our sacred identity has endured genocide, colonization, dispersion, and systemic suppression, yet our spirit remains unbroken, our memory now awakened. By the power vested in us by the creator of the universe, our ancestral laws, and the collective will of the African diaspora, we hereby initiate the formation of the supranational republic of the global African diaspora. This internal peace treaty serves as a solemn covenant, not merely between individuals, but between generations. It is a collective vow to end cycles of disunity, poverty, and trauma that have plagued our people. It is a declaration of healing, nationhood, and uncompromising dignity. Let this moment be remembered as the hour we stood, not as scattered tribes, but as victims of, Let this moment be remembered.
Yeah, how you write some bullshit and don't even understand it?
Be remembered as the hour we stood, not as scattered tribes, but as victims of, not as. Let this moment be remembered as the hour we stood, not as scattered tribes, not as victims of history, but as sovereign authors of our future. In unity and in peace, we enter this treaty, binding ourselves to the work of restoration, protection, and righteous governance. Now, Article 1, Sovereign Rebirth. Article 1.1, Definition of sovereignty. We declare ourselves as a supranational people, bound not by colonial.
Gemini said, I guess these fools think the only way you could be conscious if you look homeless. That was this fool. Yo, what is this dude talking about? He just made up some bullshit declaration. And I told you, they all competing to be Papa since Umar fell. All right, let me see. Okay. So, family, let's get to the topic. Okay. So, Yvette Carnell is going to cook on the Supreme Court ruling. This is very important. Get out your pens and papers. Listen.
You black immigrant, and you say I'm discriminated against. They're saying that's not enough.
Okay, don't worry about her personality. I know people, I don't like Yvette. Don't worry about that. It's the information. Forget about the messenger. Listen to the message, the information. That's all. The information is either wrong or right, and you will know it in a matter of less than a minute.
That knocks it out the box, and it might make you a poison pill to any case we would bring. Well, what do you mean, Yvette? Well, let me just show you something. More than half of black immigrants, 58%, arrived in the U.S. after 2000. Roughly 3 in 10, 31%, came to the U.S. between 2010 and 2019. And a little over a quarter, 27%, immigrated between 2000 and 2009. What you're looking at right there is that there are 58% of black immigrants just got here.
Family, 58% of African immigrants just got here, and they want to be tagged along to reparations. They just got here after the 2000s. This is unbelievable.
Just got here after 2000. If you just got here after 2000 and we try to include you in our Supreme Court case, the Supreme Court is going to tell us the only thing that they may experience is discrimination, right? And they've just told you that like general discrimination is not enough. It's not enough. It has to be narrow. They just told you that.
Timothy said some nerve. They just got here in the 2000s, and they saying reparations. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Right? They just had a very good conversation with you, and they just told you that. Also, why wouldn't the Supreme Court say, listen, you just got here?
So I think I know about 400,000 Nigerians. I think about maybe 1 million or 2 island. Let me see. Oh, damn. 4.6. There are approximately 4.6 African immigrants living or Caribbean immigrants living in the U.S. as of 2019. There you go, 4.6. And it will double by 2060. I hope not. 9.5. I hope not.
Not only did you come here voluntarily, but you just got here. We can't say. First of all, we can't say why you experience discrimination. You may experience discrimination because you are an immigrant, not because you are a descendant of American slavery, not because of a history of discrimination. The Supreme...
All right, focus on the message. The message is what I want you to hear. I don't want y'all to hear, I'm not trying to make y'all fall in love with Yvette Carnell, just the information, that's all. So just listen to the information. That's all I'm trying to get you guys to listen to. So when I repeat it, tomorrow or the next day, we are on one accord. Okay, it's not so easy. Let's not get easily distracted.
Court could very well say you just got here and the reason you experience discrimination is not because of race, it's because of your immigrant status. And they could say, give it a minute. They could say, give it a minute and you're going to be all right. They could look at the data and say, listen, most...
Right, so let me rewind that for y'all guys that's quickly distracted. So she was saying a lot of these immigrants that come over here that stick their hand out for reparations saying, hey, we face discrimination too. We face racism. She's saying, well, not really. How do you know you were discriminated based on your race and not your immigration status? That's a great question. How can you prove it was race discrimination and not immigration discrimination? She's asking the tethers, and they can't differentiate. Therefore, yeah, you can't make that claim.
We can't say. First of all, we can't say why you experience discrimination. You may say, why wouldn't the Supreme Court say, listen, you just got here. Not only did you come here voluntarily, but you just got here. We can't say. First of all, we can't say why you experience discrimination. You may experience discrimination because you are an immigrant, not because you are a descendant of American slavery, not because of a history of discrimination. The Supreme Court could very well say you just got here and the reason you experience discrimination is not because of race, it's because of your immigrant status. And they could say, give it a minute. They could say, give it a minute and you're going to be all right. They could look at the data and say, listen, most immigrants, a lot of these black immigrants do better than Negroes. You just haven't been here long enough to be okay. Give it a second.
He's cooking.
So you have to go with the group that can tie their lineage all the way back to slavery and say, and then you can show with this group, listen, we've tried everything. All that stuff y'all told us to try, the FHA, all that stuff, it didn't work. Everything y'all said was gonna work with all these other Supreme Court decisions in the 1800s. The first Civil Rights Act case was in 1866. Ain't nothing worked, and the real reason we need you to do this is because we're about to go to zero wealth after 400 years in this country and building this country. That is the thing. You have to be able to make a case that makes sense, and I would argue that including black immigrants in this case is a poison pill. Because they're not part of the class. And Greg Carr would say, well, there's a stigma attached to people who look like us. The Supreme Court told you that a stigma isn't enough. They said a general amorphous kind of feeling of whatever discrimination is not enough. Let me go to this other part of Wygant versus Jackson Board of Education. Societal discrimination without more is too amorphous a basis for imposing a racially classified remedy. You don't get a remedy just because what the Supreme Court believes is that if America just starts doing the right thing, and it's wrong, and I have an argument for that too, but they believe if America just starts doing the right thing, then we'll get over this, right? And so they've said that societal discrimination without more is too amorphous a basis for imposing a racially classified remedy. So you saying that a black immigrant comes here and they look like ADOS is not enough to impose any kind of remedy. The Supreme Court has told you that. Why are you playing with us? The role model theory by district court and the resultant holding typify this indefiniteness. So they're saying you can say forever. You can say forever. Well, there's still discrimination out here, and then you still just firing white teachers. And they're saying that can't continue. It's not narrow enough. There are numerous explanations for a disparity between the percentage of minority students and the percentage of minority faculty, many of them completely unrelated to discrimination of any kind. So they're saying, listen, you could have a disparity. It might have nothing to do with discrimination, and you still firing the white teachers. I'm just saying, like, in fact, there is no apparent connection between the two groups. Nevertheless, the district court combined irrelevant comparisons between these two groups with an indisputable statement that there has been societal discrimination.
Pause that. Let's get in this one right here. Pause that. I think she made her point. Her point was that immigrants who just got here yesterday is asking to be attached to reparations. That's what Pan-Africanism is trying to help out and justify. And they could only be tagged on terror claim if it's race-based, which Pan-Africans push. But Supreme Court said, nah. Reparations got to be narrow, strict, lineage-based.
We grew up with our media perceptions of African Americans because that history that we actually needed to learn in the classroom was not available because we're under a British system.
We're all being oppressed. We're not trying to say I'm more oppressed than you are, or you're more oppressed than I am. That's not the objective here.
Yeah, but why do you water that down to our objective? These tethers is something else, man. They want to water that down to our objective. We're not comparing nothing with you guys. We're saying stay out of our face, leave us alone, and we hope you just go home and just, fix your homeland, which you just refuse to do.
TJMTM is back, episode Cuatro.
Cuatros.
Quatre in French.
What is it in Spanish?
Cuatro.
In Wolof, we say ñeneent.
Ñeneent. That's kind of fire, bro. I'm not gonna lie. What's good, people?
Yes, sir.
The boys are back.
Back again.
Shit. Consistency is the name of the game for.
He just said yes, sir. Yeah, these guys study us so often, man. And yes, sir. He said it all corny.
This season,
I told you we're Amazon Prime this season.
One day I'm moving like DHL. Remember when United was sponsored by DHL? That short-lived.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Was it? But it was the training.
That was the trainers.
Yeah.
I remember them, the DHL.
The DHL.
Yeah, long sleeve trainers.
Yeah.
By the way, family, this is another Tether channel that just started, and one of their very first videos is talking about us. This is all they do. They start a new channel and they talk about FBAs, Adolfs, Freedmen. That's all they do. They don't have any ability in anything, any talent they have. And that's why we're as far as compared to them, we are the inventors and we are the innovators. And they're not. They're the copycats. They're the cosplayers. All they could talk about is us.
Yeah.
Did you have one of those?
I don't think I did. I had the long sleeve trainers, but I don't think I had the DHL United ones.
Okay. All-time favorites got to be Vodafone for me.
Oh, come on. No, AIG for me.
AIG?
The AIG 2008-09, we won the Champions League that had the little strip.
Okay.
At the back.
Yeah.
CR7. AIG.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. Rooney and them, like, they were moving mad
that
with those.
08-09 AIG.
Yeah.
No, 07-08 AIG.
And we're TJMTM. If you don't know who we are, we're the Jola Meets the Muddy podcast. Our mission is to edutain you on all things African. So culture, sports, what else? Traditions,
history,
music, everything, food. As we canoe down through this thing called life, our mission is to edutain you on all those things African. And our perspective is the diasporan, African diasporan living in the United States of America.
The US of A.
And sharing just our perspectives and broad experiences. As you know, we've recently become, can we say TikTok famous? Can we say TikTok famous? Like,
I don't know, but
nonetheless, there's been a lot of discourse on TikTok.
Yes, the discourse has been doing its thing.
It's been good, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I like seeing that. Right?
It's good, the engagement. And I think it's important for people to, it sounds like, voice a lot of these opinions, sentiments that were previously not either discussed or it was in a very divisive manner.
Right. Heavy on the divisive manner, because I think a lot of that is coming to light now, in the sense that all parties involved have been very tribal, right?
Yes.
Can you blame someone? No. Can you point a finger? No, but
can't point a finger. We're all just stupid and tribal. You heard them, tribal. We're in a tribal war. Diaspora war, now a tribal war.
That's why we're having this conversation, and we've been having these conversations. It's to continue to inform rather than misinform, right? Some of the comments I saw regarding history itself were very, very telling because much like our last episode, we were talking about how art has been looted from Africa and gate kept from us, right?
Yes.
A lot of African American history has been gate kept from African Americans, right?
From Africans, you mean?
Both.
Both sides.
Both sides. White people not teaching Black history in schools, not teaching African history in schools, or whitewashing it.
So for you, when you were in primary school in Uganda, how much exposure or education on African American history did you encounter? Let's say primary school, Uganda, East Africa.
Minimal.
Minimal.
And the extent that we knew of was the Atlantic slave trade. Let's say all slave trades, but it was minimal.
Okay.
Yeah. I had the privilege of having informed people in my family, and so that's how I learned about more than just that. Unfortunately, a lot of people in Uganda primary school I experienced they didn't get that opportunity.
I would say it's the same all the way. I would say through high school that I experienced in Gambia as well, where we're under Cambridge, British curriculum, right?
Right. That's the other thing to note.
So if we're under British curriculum and our history classes in high school are based on this British Board of Education, their curriculum, African American history, for what I remember in history class, was briefly only civil rights movement in the 60s. Here was MLK who said peace, nonviolence, and here is Brother Malcolm who said violence by any means necessary. That was like the only exposure to.
Malcolm X said violence by any means. Yeah, that didn't sound right.
Any sort of African American history.
I think he said justice by any means necessary. I don't believe he said violence by what the fuck. Yeah, that wasn't Malcolm's message.
That I encountered growing up in the Gambia.
You think about it, that's wild. That's it makes sense why there was a divide, right?
Yes, and while we're not getting that history taught to us, guess who's pushing stereotypes and perceptions to us?
Boy,
it's the media, right?
Right.
So then now,
just blame the media. Blame no accountability, family. Blame the media. Oh my God.
We grow up with our media perceptions of African Americans.
So they grew up with their media perceptions. So the media said it must be true. Okay. So then why are you so traumatized if we call you an African booty scratcher? Because we'll just say the same thing. Our media perceptive, you right? Made you a booty scratcher, African booty scratcher. Now what? So if you can't forgive us for that, then we can't forgive you from your media stereotypes about us. So cool. We shouldn't get along. You're traumatized from being called a booty scratcher, and we can just say, hey, we got it from media. You say you got stuff from media about us, and we're going to say, hey, well, we're traumatized. We can't shake it off. So therefore, again, stalemate. So you stay where you're at. We stay where we're at. Leave us alone.
Because that history that we actually needed to learn in the classroom was not available because we're under a British system.
Exactly.
So imagine even just like our generations, our parents' generations, aunts, uncles growing up, and now the media is playing a direct hand of showing these people are violent, they're gang members, thugs.
Showing we're violent, and they live in the most violent countries in the world. And movies, they're talking about movies. menace to society, and that's enough for them to be like, oh my God, these guys are scary. Meanwhile, they're from countries that take off the limbs of people's hands and legs. Are you serious?
Welfare, all of these. So it starts, it's anywhere you go. Like if you don't know much about them, but this is only what you see on TV being perpetuated, guess what's going to happen? Miseducation, misinformation.
There we go. So it's never intentional. It's they got an excuse for every hateful bone in them against us. And it's always no accountability. It's always Smile's fault. But they will cry like booger babies about African booty scratcher. Well, guess what? We can say same thing here. Misinformation, miseducation. So don't hold us accountable. We won't hold you accountable. How about that? See, so we both can do that. We both can blame media, but the difference is you're coming to our homeland with those perceptions. We're not going to your homeland calling you a African booty scratcher. As I said earlier, my live earlier, African booty scratcher was a proper term for them. That was the first delineating term before tether. African booty scratcher was the first tether. And it was our kids noticing that these folks ain't like us. And they called them an African booty scratcher, rightfully so. So when they were called an African booty scratcher family, that was along the same lines as tether. Because like they said, they coming over here with these stereotypes and they're expressing them, displaying them in school. And FBA kids is offended. They are offended. And they called them a tether in the name and the words of African booty scratcher. They knew something about them was off code, and they gave them a label. Like, hey, those are African booty scratchers. They're the ones who are acting uppity.
And hence stereotypes.
For sure. My experience with that, right, was when I moved here, the place I moved to didn't have any Africans, right? Okay. There was one other Nigerian family, and we're still friends.
There's always one Nigerian family, guaranteed.
But in turn, some of my best friends growing up, and still to this day, were African American, right? We didn't, you see, the circumstance we were put in didn't allow for us to think of each other as different, right? Because we could count on one hand how many, two hands how many of us there were, right? So
as in black people.
So the objective very quickly did not, and also we're kids too, but the objective very quickly became like, yeah, we need to band together.
Stop it. Vol Wade, yes, they're calling us African Americans. They're doing it intentionally. They want us to call us Africans. So when they say African Americans, they mean we're just Africans living in America, no different than them.
Right? And through that, we share experiences, we learn experiences, and what do you find? We're one and the same.
So to what you said there,
right, Golden.
I don't know if this is fact or theory, but this is how it comes off to me. In areas where just the black people are so much of a minority, I feel like you would generally see more unity between Africans and African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, from a sheer need that you're in a place that's so predominantly, it could be white or Asian, you are such a minority. You would be wise to make sure that, you guys stick to each other, support each other, uplift each other, which I feel like that's how it should be normally.
We're good because you guys are afraid of immigration. So you'll never buck up against the system. As long as you need immigration, to look at you favorably, you'll never buck up. Your immigration is their leash. Now, of course, they're kids. That's first gen, second gen. They're unleashed from immigration. But immigrants who are not born in this country, they don't have citizenship. Yeah, they have a leash called immigration.
But it seems like in places where it's now a diverse group of black people in one, so you have a lot of Africans, a lot of African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, I don't find the unity there as prevalent as in areas where they're minority.
Right.
I find now you start having the, very resentful sentiments on both sides, stereotypes playing against each other, and just no unity and any need to understand kind of the urgency, but the importance to make sure that we're all kind of one big community. I don't see that in areas where it's a diverse group of Black people in the US. I find more wars there or just not getting along.
Right. And I think the rule of numbers comes into play there too, because if you have more of your kind, why do you need to
mingle with others?
Right. It
Fair enough.
becomes tribal at a certain point. One thing I like to, there's a quote, I forget who even said it, but someone said, like, if there's no enemy within, then the enemy outside can do us no harm, right? You think about that, right? Who's our common enemy? And not enemy in the sense, but like, who is the common antagonist in all these situations?
The Oyibo man.
There you go, right? So how is it that we're allowing their agenda to be pushed on us? How is it that we're allowing them to be tenfold more successful and tenfold control all things in the communities
ownership
that we live in and whatnot? You got to start thinking about stuff like that, right? There was a comment that also on my TikTok that this person was talking about how the idea of unity is essentially impossible because Africa was never a utopia and Africa was never united.
Why do you guys need to unite with us? Go unite with yourselves. You failed. You try to unite with yourselves. It's called the Pan-African Federation of the 1960s family. They all flopped within 3 years. They can't unite. They can't unify amongst themselves, but somehow they believe. Listen, they speak similar languages. They got similar cultures. They all live in Africa, and that you can't unite with each other. But somehow they want to convince us, people from the Western world, that have nothing in common with them. They can't unite with the people they have something in common with, but they want to convince us they can unite with us who we have nothing in common with them. Like, no, we're not falling for that, man. You're not going to sell us twice.
I said, okay. Has anywhere ever been united? A utopia, right? I don't think we're looking for a utopia. I think we're just looking to live together, right?
I'm good. I'll pass.
We have a very serious issue with we're all being oppressed. We're not trying to say.
How are you being oppressed, man? You're in a country where you ran by yourselves, bro. Miss me.
I'm more oppressed than you are, or you're more oppressed than I am. That's not the objective here. The only thing we know is that we're both being oppressed, right?
That's a fact.
And so if a French nigga goes to Germany, he's not going to be like, I'm not going to do business with you because you're German, right?
Family, they are obsessed with doing business with us. All these people in the world, and they just got to do it with FBAs. No, we'll pass.
A Chinese guy goes to Japan, he's not going to be like, you're Japanese, so we can't work together, right? I'll come back to my community, but hey, at the end of the day, there's unity in that. And that's, I think, what we're trying to push here too with our ideology and sort of, I think it really comes back down to Pan-Africanism, which I think both of us identify as.
We identify it, but I feel like what we're seeing is that huge gap still existing.
Big gap.
That bridge. It's not being constructed at all, or it seems like there's a long way to go.
Yeah.
Because as you mentioned, there's a reason why Brother Malcolm went to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you look at the civil rights leaders, they all identify from when it starts with the Garvey movement in the 1920s to Du Bois. It was Du Bois. I don't know how to say it. Du Bois.
Du Bois.
They all identified the importance of the African American to reconnect with their roots by going back to reunite with their brothers in Africa.
Yeah, what the hell is he talking about? Dr. King never said that.
Because of being, as you mentioned, victims of oppression on both ends. The only way we can overcome that is unity across the diaspora and across brothers and sisters in the motherland. These great, they're, I don't want to say they, but African American civil rights leaders from in the 20th century, the most prominent ones, identified this.
For sure.
You don't know the most prominent ones. A. Philip Randolph was a immigration restrictionist, so you're a goddamn liar, bro.
When you go all the way,
Frederick Douglass, you don't know our history, man. When everything we said was about staying in America and focusing on Americans, Black Americans, not Africans. Cut it.
To Stokely Carmichael, the Black.
Your lies is way too crazy. You need to cut it. Cut it. Cut it. Oh, I gotta make a new song called Cut It. Your lies are way too crazy. You need to cut it.
Power movement that happened in the early 1970s, the Black Panthers.
Black Panther movement.
Stokely Carmichael ended up changing his name to, I think, Sheku Toure, or I'm not sure what it is.
Kwame something.
But he moved to Guinea. All of the great African-American, most civil rights leaders during segregation, 1950s, 1960s, especially through the Black Power movement, identified the importance and the need to connect with their brothers and sisters in Africa.
And I think successfully so too.
So if you're telling me no, as we see in the comments that, you guys don't care, no, we, respect us, we agree, yes. But my question is, why did those African American leaders?
They didn't, okay, and you're talking about the 1960s, my boy. This is 60 years later. This is 2025. What they said don't apply to us today. However they thought in 1960. Okay, cool. That's 60 years ago. We have a new thought today. And whatever you think they were saying, we're not saying that today. We're saying delineate. Okay, it's very plain, very simplistic. Okay, so you're not going to dig up somebody 60 years ago to say, hey, look, this person said Africa is for the Africans. Don't give a damn. We're not saying that. We're saying America is for the Black Americans. This is our country. We built it. And we're staying here, and we're delineating, and we're letting you guys do what you do. Okay, but unification with you guys, that's not on our agenda. That's what we're saying in 2025. Our voice matters. You're not going to override us with Dr. King or, Malcolm X. That's not going to happen. Our voice today, as impactful and powerful as theirs 60 years ago.
From starting through Du Bois, through Brother Malcolm, MLK, you now go through the Black Power movement, Stokely Carmichael. They all knew the importance. Fred Hampton.
All them, yeah.
All of them, the prominent ones, they understood you have to build that bridge.
Yeah.
So why are they called the Black Panthers and not the African Panthers?
So I think we need to focus our efforts on understanding the vision that they had and how we can apply it. Because as you mentioned, that's the only way we can overcome this oppression that we face from the Oyibo man.
By the way, that goes both ways. So Nnamdi Azikiwe, he went to Lincoln and Howard.
Yeah.
First president of Nigeria.
Yes.
Kwame Nkrumah, first prime minister and president of Ghana, went to Lincoln University as well.
Robert,
you came to us to learn about us, to go be great in Ghana. Kudos, great for you.
Mugabe.
I forget where Mugabe went, but he came here.
So our African leaders during the wave of independence, a lot of them came to the US.
Here. They said, "Yo,
they came here. They didn't go to Africa. So why are you trying to send us to Africa? When you just said it, all your great influencers came here to be guided right. to go back to Africa and do it right. They came here. So yeah, exactly. The center is here, not Africa. Thank you for that.
For education.
Past education, they were like, we need to link up with our brothers.
Link up with the leaders,
right?
Yeah.
And build on that. So I think on both sides, it needs to be realized.
It should be realized, and I hate us even talking about who's more oppressed, why, and do well.
That's not our argument. We don't argue who's most oppressed. We don't compare ourselves to y'all at all. There's no comparison. You're not like us. It's okay.
On our painful past, we dwell on that. We were both abused. We're both like done dirty to.
No, you sold us. Okay, we should never experience what we experienced, and it would never happen have you not sold us. So no. As a matter of fact, you only going through some shit because you sold us, and Europeans put us to work to build their superpower countries, and you felt their wrath. So no, you started all this. You're the Joker in the movie Batman. Okay.
The highest level you can do to human beings. So are we going to nitpick into who suffered most? Why didn't you come to get?
Look, they call it nitpicking when we hold them accountable. You're right. We ain't gonna nitpick. Just leave it alone. Go your own way. We're good.
Get us back. Will you guys? That is okay. It's important to have these conversations. But why don't we focus on actually how we unite and make sure that we're setting ourselves up to be free from this oppression that we face for the next generations? I would like to have conversations and solutions around that avenue.
Let's see who's in the chat today. Galactico Federation 64 says it's lit. Shout out to FBA family. Shout out to you, family. Hold on. Make sure you subscribe and like the video. I didn't say like the video at all today, because I expect you guys to like the video. And if you're new here, you don't know, I gave you a wrench already. Just know I'm here live. I'm a little quiet today because my son is asleep right there, but I'm normally live morning. You can say anywhere from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. is my start time. So tune in, check. If you might not get a notification, just write it down in your calendar. Unbiased Ron is going to be live with the channel FBA News and Updates in between 9 to 12 a.m. 12 p.m. is my start. And then I normally go live again later at night, 9:30 Eastern Time PM. So write that down so we can all come together as one big family. Thank you. I like the video, by the way. And if you appreciate the information, you like the research, the Cash App tag is there. You can hit the Cash App up. I appreciate that, because when I'm live during the morning, I'm at the diner and I'm spending money at the diner. So any Cash App donation will go to the bill at the diner. So it is useful. Those white folk, and the diner is in a nice area. So I'm like, and the people there are usually, white, Chinese, a lot of Asians, and all the black people are, well, not even black, I'm sorry, all the melanated people are Haitian. Like, I'm probably one of the only FBA that's in there. Yeah, so if you appreciate the lives and you want to support the channel, support the early lives at the diner, the Cash App tag is right there. All donations are appreciated. Super chats, any message you want to send during the live, that's appreciated. And the other form to support is just to like the video, subscribe, and pull up when I'm live. That's another important way to support, is to actually just be here while I'm live. That is refreshing. It gives me inspiration to go further and further and research and deliver more content. Search the net for more content. You feel me? It keeps me on my job.
So talking about, these people said these things about Africans, or African Americans said these things, vice versa.
Mind you,
it seems counterproductive.
Very counterproductive. Mind you,
Viceroy says, get out of our car. We Black Americans were prisoners of war, maroons on our own land, America, that were clumped together and classified as slave reparations. Ours How's alone facts? Facts.
These are like
I'll give you a lineage wrench as well. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, notification bell. Like I said, on your calendar, just be mindful. In between 9 to 12 p.m. early in the day at the diner, and then obviously I'm in bed at this time. All right, so live twice a day normally, and you got the handle how to support. Great. Like the video, subscribe, notification bell, and that's it.
There's a minimum.
I'm gonna set my alarm, even though I'm late right now. I'm gonna set my alarm. I'm gonna try to be live by 9 o'clock at the diner. I'm gonna try to get there early for tomorrow.
Small amount of people who are divisive, right? We should also
Fair
say
enough,
that.
yes. Definitely
Yeah, we appreciate you. Pulling up Peppermint Patty, long time. Peace, Carlos Magus. Peace to you. Just seeing Satchel High on the building. Moon Duck Maximus. I'm working on another FBA video. Well, once you get it, put the link in the chat. And he also sells apparel. So Moon Duck Maximus has a link there. That's his YouTube short. Click that video. Support Moon Duck Maximus. Take a look at what he has offered. Marvin Royal, I see you. Taya Tay Carter says, oh, she responding to Carlos. Spiritual vibrations in the building. Haven't seen you. Pull up. Peace to you. First class citizen. And glad to go Federation G4. Same thing. Subscribe, like, and click the notification bell. But I'm telling you guys, the notification bell, click it. But YouTube purposely, and it is not just me. It's just the way YouTube does. YouTube does not let any YouTube content creator, it does not let them get access to their supporters. So I believe this is like almost everybody. It does not send a notification bell to their supporter, their subscribers. I think YouTube wants us to pay for that feature. Yeah. So that's why I'm giving y'all a heads up. I'm normally live in between 9 a.m. all the way to 12 p.m., but usually not after that. And because I try to get off before 3, 4. And normally live at night, 9:30 p.m. Okay, so lock that in somewhere where y'all can come out and support, because YouTube does not get a notification bell to my subscribers. So we're never really here together in mass the way we should. We should be 500 to 800 deep in here. But YouTube is not going to permit that for whatever strange, weird reason.
But
the minority.
In the minority, for sure. But although a lot of people are not divisive, they also do not have, or they're also misinformed or underinformed.
Heavily.
Right?
Fabricational unlimited.
So reteaching that history and sparking these conversations is important, because we need to know where we're coming from to know where we're going, right? I think a lot of Africans, and this is why I would hold Africans accountable, is
to you.
It's almost like a superiority complex that a lot of us have back home against African Americans.
I think it's most content creators. It ain't just me.
Where it was passed down from our parents.
Superiority complex because of what? Why do Africans have that superiority complex?
Back to that media control, right? So in the media, all our parents saw from African Americans.
Yep. We're chipping away.
A negative perception.
Negative perception. Let me break down their generations, right? So the 80s, you have the crack epidemic. You have in the 90s, the Rodney King stuff.
What are they talking about now?
The Watts riots, all that. Mm-hmm. They're not giving a perspective of what actually sparked those things, right? They're misinformed.
Just showing African Americans in the streets destroying, looting.
Exactly.
Okay, so but why do you believe? Okay, so here's the problem. This is why they won't interact with us, because if they come to my panel, just one of them, a simple question: why do you believe information coming from your former colonizers? Why? Now, you guys, they just claimed that in their country they're being oppressed. And if you ask, well, who's oppressing you? They're going to say the white man. Oh, the same white man who's supposedly giving you these stereotypes against FBAs, your so-called brothers in America? Why are you trusting the white man who oppresses you to believe negatively about your so-called brothers in America? And of course, they can't answer that. It just makes no sense. Why would you believe your open enemy about your quote-unquote brother? So we know you're lying. This is something you guys want to believe because you're jealous and envious. Okay?
And they'll show the perception they have is, oh, this drug dealer wearing big chains, flashing a lot of cash.
I think coming to America messed them up. They have a superiority complex.
Rapping, blah, blah, right? And they're looking at it like, oh, no, I don't want to be like that. I don't want my kids to be like
associated to like that, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the chat. They need to worry about their homeland. Peace, Lord Maul.
Oh, wow. They're stuck in the colonial mindset, so they start pandering to the white man, right? So,
I need to clip that. I need to see. Now we see who's really team white supremacy. I got to clip that.
They're saying, oh, how can I be like the white man? You know, or how can I sit? So they start pandering to the
yeah.
All the while, they're stuck in the
associated to like that, yeah.
All the while, I don't want to be like that. I don't want my kid to be
let's get it
stuff. The 80s, their generations, right? The Rodney Kings, they're not being given a perspective of what actually sparked those things, right?
Streets destroying, looting. Destroying, looting.
Then they'll show the perception they have is, oh, this drug dealer wearing big chains, flashing a lot of cash, rapping, blah, blah, blah.
Family, if this was true, let's just say if it was true, your homeland is still worse than what we experience in America. So how can you use that as, I don't want to be around them? But, hey, wait. But the media also shows white people shooting us down unarmed. So how do you align yourself with them? Now, if you were to stay away from both of us, whatever. But you're staying away from us, but aligning yourself with the people who practice white supremacy, you're bugging.
Right? And they're looking at it like, oh, no, I don't want to be like that. I don't want my kid to be like that. A lot of cash, rapping, blah, 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 right? Right? And they're looking at it like, oh, no, I don't want to be like that. I don't want my kid to be like
associated
that.
to like that, yeah.
All the while, they're stuck in the colonial mindset, so they start pandering to the white man, right? So they're saying, oh, how can I be like the white man? You know, or how can I...
You see in media, the white kids, they live in a nice home, American home, mom and
That's
dad,
the
family
perception
structure.
they're given,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
So now, they come on to... that generation of adults gives birth...
Okay, so he's explaining why they worship Zaddy and they're envious of FBAs. This is crazy.
To kids, us.
Yes, millennials and Gen Zs.
Right? And they say, don't go hanging out with so-and-so.
Yeah, they're not good people.
No. You know what I'm saying? A completely misinformed perception. Because when I come to America and I start mixing informed perception, right? And they're looking at it like, oh, no, I don't want to be. But they're saying, oh, how can I be like the white man? You know?
So family, they give it the worst. So now they explain all this hatred that they have for us, and they're supposedly programmed by the white man. And then they downplay it as, oh, they're just misinformed. It's just cute and cuddly. But don't call them an African booty scratcher. That's the worst thing you could ever call them. They're traumatized forever. But they could tell you all this hatred they have for us prior to ever meeting us. So family, if you want to go tit for tat, let's go tit for tat. At least we called them an African booty scratcher after we experienced them. After, not before. They got stereotypes about us and they haven't even met us yet. They're not even in the country yet. And he just said they're being brainwashed by media in their homeland. They're not even in America yet, family, and they already have a view of us. That is a big difference. We're meeting them not liking the way they're behaving. They're off cold, so we call them African booty scratcher. And African booty scratcher was the first term that would be for tether. African booty scratcher was the first tether. Our youth realized these folks are off code. They on some bullshit. They worshiping Zaddy. So we call them African booty scratchers. And today we call them tethers. Same shit.
Or how can I?
You see in media the white kids, they live in a nice home, American home, mom and
that's
dad,
the
family
perception they're
structure.
given,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
So now,
Lovely D's. Let me get Lovely
they come
D's
on to that generation of adults gives birth to kids,
millennials and Gen Zs,
right? And they say, "Don't go hanging out with."
So Lovely D's, I made you a moderator. Get your lineage rinse, like the video, subscribe, notification bell, and we are live. Normally 9:30 p.m. Lock it in your calendar, and I'm live early in the day, in between 9-12 p.m. But don't worry, it's the same shit. Cause if I'm live at 9, I'm definitely live at 12. You dig? And if I'm live at 12, then I'm live at 12. But in between 9 and 12, just check out for FBA News and Updates. I'm going to be live one of those time frames. And like I said, if I'm live at 9, I'm still live at 12. Cause that early, I usually get off around 2 and I'd be done for the day until late night. 9-2-9-3.
So and so.
Yeah, they're not good people.
You know what I'm saying? A completely misinformed perception. Because when I come to America and I start mixing with other African Americans, and I have adults in my ears, African elders saying, "Don't do this, don't do that."
Don't hang around with them.
You guys are misinformed, brother.
Misinformed. That's a nice word to give them when they're saying don't hang around FBA. I gotta clip that. This is where it started. It started with them, but they want to say it's back and forth.
Like, you should see.
Hang around with them.
You guys are adults in my ears, and I have with come to America, because when I come to America. Type thing, right? Because when I come to America and I start mixing with other African Americans, and I have adults in my ears, African elders saying, "Don't do this, don't do that."
Don't hang around with them.
You guys are misinformed, brother.
He said African elders, they're wise. Their most wise are in their ear saying, "Get away from FBAs." And they want to act like they didn't start it. That's crazy.
You should see what the white folks are doing.
Yeah, you think,
you know what I'm saying?
You should be really worried about it.
You should really be worried about them.
Steve, bro.
So all that to say, man,
Steve, bro.
Because when I come to America, you should see what the white folks are doing.
How do you disclose this and then say it's back and forth and then say there's nobody to blame? How do you confess all this and conclude there's nobody to blame? Let me write these guys. I doubt they're online still. Because this was 2 years ago and it flopped. You got a cat to make them come on and make them believe that you're a supporter. Like, oh man, you guys did great. Yo, great show. Come to my live. Let's talk about it. And then get them. But, and FB, turn them up in the chat. FB is cooking them in the chat.
You think,
you know what I'm saying?
You should be really worried about it.
You should really be worried about them.
Steve, bro.
So all that to say, man, the media,
they played us.
Once you can,
they gave up. They tried a couple of videos, family. Nothing went nowhere. Nobody tuned in, and they stopped. They stopped a year ago. They gave up.
Once you control the media, you control
the narrative. You control the narrative.
You control the narrative. You control the outcome. You control so much. You are so powerful that things like this happen. So now you have a bunch of uninformed and misinformed Africans saying, "Oh, I don't like Black Americans," or "I don't know that." Then you have vice versa. A lot of Black Americans saying,
No. It's not vice versa. You just said that the colonizers were educating you guys to hate us, and then you said your elders followed up and doubled down saying don't be around FBAs. We've never been through that training. We've never been through that brainwashing. No. We're responding to you guys coming over here after being brainwashed by colonizers, your words, and after being further brainwashed by your elders, your words. We're responding to that FBA hatred, okay, that you guys bring towards us. We're defending ourselves. It ain't back and forth.
And you can feed an African for $1 a day. You can
African booty.
No.
Scratcher.
That type.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but that's not elders training kids. You said your elders were training you guys as kids. All right, big difference. And African booty scratcher were our kids defending themselves against you guys who've been trained by your elders to stay away from us and to look at us below yourselves. We're responding by saying you're tethers, but we said African booty scratcher. There was no word tether, just African booty scratcher. That's the best we can do. We have a more fitting word today, which is tether.
Show them, either blood diamonds,
blood diamonds and all
child
that.
soldiers.
Hey, because that's all you.
Who the hell said that? Come on, man.
See,
we live in villages, we climb trees, huts, and stuff like that.
We have to go fetch water daily, type thing. We got lions.
Oh wow, that's so hurtful. You climb trees when you're told that look, that's jokes. You climb trees. That's obviously fake. You're repeating white supremacist stereotypes against us, and you're making up your shit. Climb trees. You're making that shit up, but you believed what your elders told you about us. Okay? You believe that. Drug dealers, alcoholics, gangbangers, you actually believe that. And you guys distance yourself away from us in elementary school, and our children cooked y'all. They called you African booty scratchers, a term to make you guys distinctive from us. Like we say tether today. African booty scratcher used by our kids was in the context of like coons. That's all.
And roaming around.
They got us both. They got us both really good.
We gotta understand they played us, bro.
The way we speak the English language, it's you have to understand where all of these things come from. It's it's so deliberate. The media played us both to perfection.
The media played us both, but wait. So what did the media say about us to you guys? You never said that. And what elders of us trained us to hate you guys like you did, like your elders did you guys? Like, come on, it's not. And this is why we cannot and must not collectively work with Africans. They're too delusional. Okay, they're too delusional, and they just refuse to acknowledge what really happened, and they won't talk to us. They don't want to be reminded.
Because again, just like how in the FBI when Hoover was cracking down on all of these civil rights leaders, you don't think they understood the number one priority could be to not allow that bridge to happen? The FBI followed Malcolm X. The FBI followed all the civil rights leaders, and they folled them especially when they went to visit the African leaders. Don't you think the U.S. government...
They ain't followed especially for that. You just said they followed us no matter what. They followed us no matter where we went.
Understood how dangerous would be if that bridge existed?
Nah, that bridge didn't exist, never will. Stop fantasizing.
So there had to be a deliberate effort.
Hoover was he delivered a speech to the FBI saying the greatest threat to national security
was it the Black Panthers?
Was
right?
the Black Panther Party?
Yes, there's a reason.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a reason.
Yeah, it wasn't the African Panther Party, so.
And it's deliberate. It happened, and it's been so effective because, as you see now, Africans are here, African Americans are here. We have Killmonger, we have T'Challa. And we're still here instead of talking about
Mississippi is much older than any so-called African nation.
Solutions and pathways and avenues, and how can we use both of our intelligence, both of our network, our natural resources that belongs to us to build our community, to go back to where we were before Oyibo man ever came and destroyed everything.
Right.
That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about a utopia.
No.
We're talking about getting back to a place where we're oppression free,
or not
misinformed free, and miseducation free.
And maybe not even getting back per se, but moving forward.
Moving forward. Let's not even use getting back. Right. Moving forward.
We're moving forward. We're looking at it like.
And this is why most of the channels flop, because they just can't be honest. Nobody wants to. No genuine person is going to subscribe to a channel that's disingenuous.
Guys, out with that, all that. We're not taking that anymore. Look, we're all educated. We're all equally capable. Let's move forward together, because if we don't, the same shit's going to continue. Right?
What's going to continue?
So that's the angle that we're coming from.
What's going to continue? Exactly.
Never the, oh, you must know this, and you nah, bro. Dub that. Like, let's talk about these.
We're focusing more on solutions, but yes, go ahead.
Let me talk about and specifically, within the diaspora wars, right? There's been this debate about foundational Black Americans versus Africans. So,
okay, get your popcorn. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Go get your popcorn.
Within the diaspora wars, right? Let's talk about these.
We're focusing more on solutions, but yes, go ahead.
Let me talk about and specifically, within the diaspora wars, right? There's been this debate about foundational Black Americans versus Africans.
Foundational Black Americans.
Foundational Black Americans.
Okay. So to Africans, clearly, like me, I don't know what foundational. Do you have any information about them?
The term foundational Black Americans gained prominence in the 2020s as a way to distinguish this group from more recent immigrants of African descent to the United States, particularly those from the Caribbean and Africa. The term is sometimes used to emphasize the unique cultural, historical, and political experiences of Black Americans, and to call for greater recognition and respect for their contributions to American society. Their sentience. A deep sense of connection to the history and culture of Black Americans, including the struggles and achievements of their ancestors in the face of systemic racism and oppression. Frustration with the ongoing legacy of racism and inequality in the United States, including disparities in areas such as education, healthcare, and criminal justice. A desire for the greater recognition and respect for the contributions of Black Americans to American society, including their role in building the country's economy, culture, and political institutions. Those are just some of them.
Facts. Facts. I agree with all of those.
I think anyone who's against that is probably problematic, don't you think?
No, yeah. I think from what you're saying, 100% African Americans do deserve their respect and credit for having, as we talked about last episode, significant contributions to all aspects of American society.
Overwhelming
Overwhelming. Yeah. With no credit given for, and with all the marginalization, racism, systematic racism that has existed, it has created the wealth gap
and a lot of
and all of these things that rightfully so, there should be reparations to that. But how has this come against now somewhat coming to us being perceived? Because when I read through our comments and see what people are saying of identifying as FBA, most have been really good in terms of unity, but I'm seeing some of that now being deemed as us Africans being an op.
You are. Newsflash, you are. Get your hands out of our pocket and put it back in your filthy, lint-infested pockets. You're not getting any of our money. Okay? You just said the colonizers brainwashed you to hate us and that your own parents. Yes, that's called an op. I don't know I don't know how that's not an op.
Right. It's now against Africans.
How can such a strong, great message end up your own brothers and sisters coming into, direct line of fire?
A family, they just play stupid, no accountability. When where are the Africans besides Godfrey that would sit there and admit, like, you know what, yeah, we're bugging, we're tripping, we're delusional. We do have a disdain for Foundation Black Americans, and you know what? Hold on. Not anyone play stupid.
Fire.
Yeah.
And I think we saw someone talk about this with the Nigerian terms, right?
Akata.
Uh-oh. Now they're going to downplay Akata. They're going to say, no, it means we love you, brother. It doesn't mean anything derogatory. No. That means we love you. You're a brother, a long-lost brother. Like, they say brother like Hulk Hogan. You're a long-lost brother.
Let me play that clip for you so you can, here it is.
Some of the most racist people, in my opinion, towards Black Americans
Hold on.
in this country.
Let me start it over.
Nigerians are some of the most racist people, in my opinion, towards Black Americans in this country. They call us all types of Akadas and all other types of things. Damn. An Akada is the N-word, or with the hard R at the end of it.
But that's great.
What?
Go ahead.
It's true.
Finish your point.
No, I finished the point. They call us Akadas and all types of They don't appreciate us.
Think about this. Nigerians are racist towards people in Africa too. They literally think they're the best country.
Let's dissect that clip. What do you think about it?
Don't do it.
Okay. First off, I want to say this. He did say it's an opinion. So there's no factual basis, right? 2, he's using 2 different terminologies. He's saying Nigerians are racist towards Black Americans.
Racist.
But we're the same race. You get what I'm saying? So
no, we're not the same race. I don't know what that whole race bullshit is, a social construct, and no, we're not the same race. No. We can do away with race. That's some bullshit made up to connect people who are not connected.
Yeah. I don't know how you can be racist towards your own. Actually, you could be racist towards your own kind. You could be Uncle Ruckus, man. I don't know.
You're being too nice to this guy.
Hold on. I'm trying to give him his. I'm trying to be diplomatic here.
Good luck.
3. The way the word Akata was used, I didn't even know about that word till I moved to America.
Pretty much.
Uh-oh.
But the way it's used is how I've heard it. It's from again, our parents' generation.
One tribe in Nigeria.
One tribe, right, in Nigeria. But from our parents' generation to say, oh, this Akata means like American. Right?
Yeah.
So
there they go.
I think that brother's misinformed. While he is talking about Nigerians and him saying Nigerians are, I'm not going to say racist because you can't say racist, but Nigerians are very they're very tribal. All that Niger know they carry last.
They're proud.
They're very proud of who they are.
But we desperately need that to retain our Africanness, if anything.
I agree. And I think I appreciate Nigerians for doing that too, because if you're standing in a room with 10 people, you're going to know who the Nigerian is. Whether they say it or not, you're gonna know it.
Family, all they do is justify their horrible, primitive, shithole country behavior. This is all they do. They're misled. Oh, misinformation is just excuse after excuse after excuse. They don't hold themselves accountable for shit. It's an excuse. Now, kata is a good word. It's not bad. Oh boy. So this right here. So we're gonna ignore this right here, right?
Which is funny how almost every foreigner has something to say badly about African Americans. Even Africans sometimes have to say about African Americans, but then everybody comes to America trying to be African American.
Okay, that right there. I was looking for that. Found it.
You need that. You need a.
That's what I'm saying.
You need someone to be a strong voice. You need someone to be pro-black. You need someone to be pro. I am who I am. I do understand what he's saying about the Akata, but I don't think he's been presented the right Nigerians. Maybe
I wish I had a scissor and I'll go and cut off both of their mics, all of their mics. That's how I feel about it. I just wish I just cut it off because yes, it is opinion based. What is your goal? What is the goal of that opinion? What is your real objectives? Nigerians are the most racist Africans because of maybe your experience. What are you getting out of this? Who are you telling this to? What do you want out of it? What is the outcome? If you have such an opinion so profound that you need to go on social media and proclaim this.
Yeah, look at it. Yeah, fam, I'm telling you, they are like robots. Like there's no reaching them. They're like robots. They're just like, that's like trying to convince a robot to have some type of morality. You know, it's not going to happen, family.
That Nigerians are so racist that they call you akadas and all kinds of stuff. Why are you doing this? Who are you helping? That's just what I know.
Helping our lineage be aware of how hateful you are and to stay away from y'all. That's what we're doing. We're spreading awareness.
Like, who are you helping? Because
okay, so listen, family, this is his spin. Now look, this is the definition of gaslighting, bait and switch. They are the ones saying Akata, and the topic is Akata. He's gonna switch it to us calling out Akata as a foul word towards FBA specifically, not Jamaicans, Haitians, and other people from the diaspora, just only FBAs. He's gonna switch that to we are team white supremacy. We are. They got the hateful name towards us, but we're team white supremacy and not them. Listen, he admitted earlier that colonizers are brainwashing them. And white supremacy colonizers are brainwashing them to think like a white supremacist, but somehow we're team white supremacy. Okay.
We can give you a historical lesson on your whole concept of even Nigerians in one.
They always want to give us a African tether lesson.
Word in tribe of Nigeria, the most diverse. Nigeria is like a mini continent in terms of its diversity.
Yeah.
For you to take one tribe, one word, and now use it to summarize, we can go down the historical route and just eradicate anything that you mentioned there that has any substance. It doesn't. But
so they're going to justify Akata. This is wild.
Really, why are you doing this? If you want to promote and ensure, as you mentioned about foundational Black Americans, all the recognition and reparations they do deserve, yes. But what benefit is it for you to go and proclaim this? And then your buddy there, I thought that he will bounce back. He goes and says Nigerians are even racist to other Africans. Who told you that?
Experiences and y'all hatred towards us. And Godfrey just said it too, by the way. Okay. It's Nigerian.
I think people
Who told you that?
are just misinformed.
You know these guys, bro. I'm telling you, they
And
should
we
be
hear
podcast
ourselves.
police. Get scissors and just cut off mics. Even if we say so, just cut off these mics. You can't say those things. These things are what causes.
Yeah, why this dude giving me Michael Blackson, yo? Is that the same with you guys? He's giving me strong Michael Blackson, like a clean a Christian Michael Blackson.
The divide.
No, he's African, a Catholic Michael Blackson.
We just, came for Acho for making wild statements. And then here's this guy making another wild statement on the other side. You see, this is the problem. We can literally just go every week talking about these problematic statements, but what is the goal and who are you trying to help by spreading that misinformation, even if it's an opinion, even if it is an opinion? Even if it's your opinion, keep it to yourself, because that will not have any benefit.
Sound like a white supremacist. A critical thinker said they act like they didn't start it. Critical thinker, I just made you a moderator, gave you a lineage wrench, subscribe, like the video, notification bell. We're live 9:30ish every night, and check us out early afternoon, sometimes morning. All right, put that in your calendar. About let's say 11 a.m. to be safe. 11 a.m. in the morning and let's say 10 p.m. at night. Twice a day.
To everything that we mentioned, and it doesn't have any value to us as Black people and what we're facing. It's not a value-based opinion.
Right.
And you're using a platform to miseducate and misinform. Trump supporters had a lot of opinions.
Whole lot.
Look, I told you, Trump supporters. He is tight that they pointed out Akata. Look how tight he is.
A lot of them.
The colonialists had a lot of opinions.
That's true. That's true.
I told you, family, they're going to try to tie us in white supremacy, and they're the ones calling us Akata. I told you, bait and switch, gaslight. Switch the verse. When we're pointing out you call us Akata, and he switched it to we are Trump supporters, white supremacists.
Shit. Yeah.
So that's what I say, man. I'm telling you, like, I saw that, I've seen similar clips like that, Anzo, and it's just extremely problematic.
Not only is it problematic, it's done the very thing that we're trying to undo, which is divisive. That's right. Continues to divide more than to unite. So
I wish, we can spend more time again providing, let's talk, talking and providing on ways we can, amplify each other. Who's doing great things, discuss those projects, challenges, solutions. How can we improve? Why don't we, put our efforts on that?
Right.
Investing in the whole Black community, making sure we're supporting our businesses.
So in other words, don't call out African bullshit. Get them a pass. Only call out white supremacy. Not happening.
Having ownership, connecting. Can we just focus on that?
Let's focus on that.
We're that. That's what we want to focus on.
Exactly.
We don't want to be.
I think that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
We don't want to be here reading about this guy don't buy Akatas.
Right.
We don't want that. Can we? I would like to hear someone of substance who
subjective.
Yes.
Substantial information. Here's the last thing I'll say before we kind of cut out.
Yeah.
Hold on. Shout out to this tee right here.
That's a dope T-shirt.
This
bro.
is above our differences. My boy.
You got some legends on that shirt,
so
bro.
Y'all can see the legends, or if you don't know who they are.
If Anzo walks out on the street with that shirt, the way people might start buying down.
But here's the last thing I'll say, right? When I see a Black man, Black woman out in public,
don't do the cop analogy, please.
First thing I think is that's my brother or that's my sister.
Stop it. Yeah, family, they're nowhere near us. They're in their private enclaves. Africans never reach out to us and nothing. And now what kind of brother and sister we are to you, and you never reach out to us in public. to do shit with us. Stop it.
I don't care if you're from Togo, if you're from Botswana, if you're from Memphis, if you're from New York, if you're from California, if you're from wherever the hell, if you're from Brazil, if I see a black man or a black woman, the first thing I think is that's my kin, right? So no matter how much someone else tells me they are not my kin, that's on them, which is where the divisiveness comes in, right? If you don't want to be
GPGH, peace,
associated with me, I'm fine with that.
That's fine.
There you go, family. You got a blame game. I tell you, they switching it. They went from Akata. They couldn't justify it. Now we're divisive. We're the problem. This is hilarious. Typical tethers.
Best of luck to you. But you need to understand that
typical African booty scratchers.
My objective is always going to be unity within black people, no matter how much disappointment we have and no matter how much joy we have. The message is always going to stay the same. And the objective is always going to stay the same. I'm saying that to address certain people in the comments, right? You can shout all you want.
That's fine.
That's fine. Just know
you can't stop us.
It's not going to change the way I see another black man or another black woman. The message is always going to stay the same. And the objective is always going to stay the same. I'm saying that to address certain people in the comments.
Hold on. He just says Uganda and other guys from what? Gambia? I forgot. But they're not black. And all of a sudden they're black. It's not knock it off.
You've heard it from me, right? That's my objective. I'm rooting for everybody black, and I'm going to try and unite us so that we may have more prosperity.
Look at these Africans. They come with the Garvey mentality. They're going to unite us. Don't know shit about us. Refuse to respect our issues with them. And they're going to unite us anyway over all that. Screw how you feel about us. Screw how you feel about the way we treat you. We're going to still unite you with us. We're going to buy you back.
More peace, more unity, and overall just more happiness.
Well said, brother.
If you're not down with that, best of luck to you.
Best of luck, and we're not the forum to argue and
we're not the forum to promote your divisiveness.
We're not.
Yeah,
we're not. And you cannot tell us no. How dare you?
Family, they switched. Listen, I want y'all to see what just happened. They were talking about Akata. They couldn't justify it. They switched it on us being divisive, us being the problem. That's crazy.
You not talking? No, yes we are.
Yeah.
This is how we view this is what we value. This is what we think will help us be free from the oppression.
So if you can't get down with that,
if you're not down with that, cool. That's cool. Do your thing, brother. Good luck. Best of luck. But you can't tell us not to.
You can't tell us not to.
And we're clearly seeing there's an overwhelming number of people that are spreading those love and messages and telling us that, and we really appreciate it. And this is what we want to do.
Exactly.
We really want to just foster solutions and how we can be stronger together. That's what
family. Their last video was a year ago, so whatever bullshit they were trying to do, they realized it ain't happening. They gave up. Their YouTube career is done. At least that mission. They realized it's bullshit. Nobody's buying into it. This African unity shit ain't going nowhere. Pan-African ain't going nowhere. It's all garbage. And it's mainly because you guys could blame Garvey. You got behind him and he was a nothing burger. And now we have information about his flag, the origins of the flag, which I'm going to play before we end tonight's live for those who have never heard it.
we want to talk about. That's what we value. If you don't,
I'm not interested in trying to fight anyone.
Good luck.
I'm not interested in fighting.
Good luck. So I hope for those who don't understand, get a chance to listen to this and check out our videos and you see our topics where we talk about this is what we want to talk. These are what we're trying to do. So call us optimists call us utopian. Good for you.
Good for you.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, all I'm saying is shout out Dr. Umar. He's never lost an argument.
Umar, what the fuck?
Modern day Malcolm.
Real talk. This has been TJMTM, the Joel and Me Somebody podcast. Thank y'all for joining us. If you like what you heard, which I hope you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Yep.
Engage with us, repost. Really appreciate y'all. And yeah, man, stay humble, stay blessed, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.
This is
family. Nobody watched that video, by the way. So family, what if I told you? Would you believe me if I told you that the green in the original RBG flag, the green, did not originally stand for the Greenland? What if I told you that the green in the RBG flag originally originally was dedicated to the Fighting Irish? Now you know this is true. Okay, this is not cap, not trolling. But the original explanation of the RBG colors is not what you know today. The red for the blood and the green for the land. That was lies, family. If you haven't seen my earlier live this morning, or I should say early afternoon, and last night live, then you're in for a treat. Check this out.
And y'all know where I'm going with this. He basically, one of those points, he said that the purpose is to go back to Africa and civilize the backwards savage or the backwards of the people on positions of second.
No, definitely.
So number 5, UNIA. So I just wanted to add that.
I'm just gonna get straight to it.
To coincide with what why is he speaking? You know, so these are two
smart people, and that follow us, man, and very trying to find it.
A lot of Black immigrants who come over here from that time until now look down upon Black Americans. They kind of came with the pull yourself up by your bootstrap mentality as well, and that was not good for our people. And we're going to get into some of the other, like I said, immigrants that came over who were fully about our people. You was going to say something, Ali?
Yeah, and that bootstrap thing, if you think about it, it's kind of crazy, especially for colonized nations, people coming from colonized nations, third world countries, or as Donald Trump would have said, it's some shithole country, right? That still to this day is that, right? It's some third world country, some underdeveloped place coming here telling us what we need to do to pull ourselves up. Right. Meanwhile, their countries are poverty-stricken, crime-ridden, and everything else, man. It's just kind of weird that people have the audacity to even do something like that.
Indeed. Well, let me ask y'all a question real quick before I pull this up. For years, we've heard about the RBG flag, the red, the black, and the green flag. During the protests of the brutal murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, among others, less publicized, highly publicized, I should say, lynchings, public lynchings by today's race soldiers and their proxies that wear police uniforms as well. I've seen numerous RBG flags. Juneteenth has been hijacked, right? The red, white, and blue that represents the Americanism of Juneteenth has been hijacked by Garvey's colors of red, black, and green, which shows how pervasive Garveyisms have become in the thoughts, as Ali has said earlier, and Grimm was speaking to as well. You know, he's kind of embedded in the psyche. It's like when people say, we've been here for 400 years. It's just not true. We haven't been here. That's something Elijah Muhammad made up, copying a biblical passage about the Israelites being strangers in a foreign land for 400 years, especially at the time that he wrote that. Our people weren't here nowhere near 400 years at that point. So, you know, we just follow a lot of that stuff. Honest KS for the contribution to the platform. So what have y'all heard that the red, black, and green flag represented through the years?
Cool. Well, I heard that the red stood for the blood of the people. The black was representative of the people, the so-called black people, and that the green represented the land. Now, that part was never clear. I guess the land of Africa is what the green, I'm assuming, is supposed to have represented. I don't know, right? That I'm not sure of. But I know that, you know, what I've always heard was that the green represented the land. Assuming they were talking about Africa.
Mm-hmm. So we have this reference, and brother, we got this from brother Ty Harper as well, because he speaks on this a lot, and it's actually something that I've heard a while ago. But you know, some things you forget, right? Because you haven't heard it in so long. So let's pull this up. Let's share this. Let me blow this up some so people could see it. So it says, in little more than 2 years between Garvey's arrival in the United States on March 24th, 1916, and July 2nd, 1918, the UNIA had been incorporated by the state of New York. His perception of race relations in the United States was shaped by his formative Caribbean experience. While Garvey would enter a new quote-unquote political phase, as Hill puts it, after July 1921, during the period 1918 through 1921, Garvey's propaganda demonstrated an immense sympathy with the Black American left and the labor movement. In 1920, he claimed that the color red in the UNIA flag showed their sympathy with the reds of the world. And the green, now let's peep this, family, peep this, and the green for the Irish in their fight for freedom. So the red and the green in Garvey's red, black, and green flag represents the reds of the world, not the blood of the Negro coursing through the veins of black bodies. The green doesn't, according to Garvey, represent the land of Africa, as many have proposed. So that was footnote 162, and it's highlighted where this particular source comes from. So let's blow that up as much as we can. Marcus Garvey to White, August 18th. So I'm guessing this was a letter. I'm guessing this is 1920. In Hill, this citation throws me at the moment. So I believe that might be chapter 2, maybe verse 19 on page 603, if I'm reading that correctly. So everybody else can go and pull the source up as well to show that Garvey's red, black, and green flag represents black people. It represents Irish folks, and it represents the reds of the world.
Family, the reds of the world. Who the hell is that? But the green, Pan-African, Africa for the Africans, Marcus Garvey, the green in the flag originally represented the struggling Irish white man. He later changed it to for the land, and red is for the blood later that's probably influenced by Hubert Harrison. But the fact is, y'all can Google it. The green originally, firstly, was for dedication to the struggling Irish. That's crazy.
Garvey felt was being oppressed by the white man in the world. The idea of Garvey's flag came from this man right here, whose flag was yellow, black, and red. Yellow for the yellows of the world, yellow, brown, and black, excuse me. Brown for the brown people of the world, and black for the black people of the world. This man's name is Hubert Harrison. So I don't know if I want to go into Hubert Harrison just yet.
Well, let me show them.
Yeah, all right.
Let me show them real quick the piece that Grim was talking about so they could see it. I have it highlighted here. You see, the declared objects of the association are to establish a universal confraternity among the race, to promote the spirit of pride and love, to reclaim the fallen, to administer to and assist the needy, to assist in civilizing the backward tribes of Africa, to assist in the development of independent Negro nations and communities, etc. So just so you see that.
That's right. To assist in civilizing the backwards tribes of Africa. You see, you can't, in my opinion, you cannot have the love for your people. I heard this old story about Garvey as well. I haven't been able to confirm it, where Garvey says something to the effect of he wouldn't give a bum or a homeless person money on the streets because he felt that they should be able to rise above their conditions and do for themselves. I can't confirm this, but I heard that a few years ago. So we could, if that quote is true, then it aligns with what Garvey felt about our people. Going back to the first article that Ali pulled up, where he says the Negro, the fact is that the modern Negro is a lazy, good-for-nothing slumberer. So here in America, the modern Negro is a lazy, good-for-nothing slumberer, and in Africa, they're backwards savages. That doesn't sound like, you know, a champion for our people. Just real quick, Arthur Ward said, Hubert Harrison is one of my favorite black atheists. I thought you was going to say one of my favorite black socialists, Brother Arthur Ward, but I'm going to let that atheist one slide for now.
But I just want to say too about what you all read about the red, black, and green flag. And I mean, all of this stuff is researchable. It's not secret. It's not arcane. The bottom line is that particularly with the Irish, and the Irish revolutionaries had a great effect or great influence on Marcus Garvey. And if you look up those Irish uprisings that took place in 1916 and the things that was going on with the Irish rebellion, you know, Garvey was an admirer. I can't think of all of the people names right now, the different Irishmen, but Garvey was and maybe some of that stuff I think that we probably dropped in the inbox. But Garvey was highly influenced by the Irish movement and the things that they had done. As a matter of fact, that terminology that they use, that Garvey was using Africa for the Africans at home and abroad, was actually taken from the Irish movement. That Ireland for the Irish at home and abroad. And I mean, all of this stuff is
That's right. That's right,
yeah,
bro.
all of this stuff is researchable. So, you know, as a matter of fact, one of the Irish leaders was supposed to, these were meetings that were set up between the leader of the Irish and Marcus Garvey that was supposed to take place. But I guess something had happened that the meeting never took place. But Garvey was supposed to actually meet with the Irish leader, so he was highly influenced by the things that the Irish was doing. So that goes to back up the fact that that green in that red, black, and green flag does not represent some land. I think somebody probably came up later and reinterpreted that flag, but that flag is just the original intentions of it was just basically what we said it was, particularly that green in the red, black, and green flag was for being in solidarity with the Irish movements. And yeah, I mean it's just plain as day. Just research that.
Somebody
stuff.
said that was a Robert Reed said red, black, and green sounds like a people of color movement. And you wonder why Black America has been stunted for 100 years. He then said what we concluded. This is the beginnings of all the hell blacks are facing now, trying to reverse this thinking.
That's right.
And, hey, man, we could just start the show off now, man. You know?
Come on.
You know?
Because we came to that same conclusion the other day.
Show, man.
That's right.
Now,
because he's 100% right.
Now, let me show you how crazy that was for him to even think that we should be in alignment with Irish people, right? We know that Irish people were not only used as overseers during the slave era, but they also owned slaves. These people became classified as white folks, and during the draft riots in New York, Irish people were attacking black people because they were classified as white at the time of the Civil War. The Union needed more men to fight in the military, so this is before they started to enlist the black soldiers or the colored troops. They started to try to draft white Irishmen from New York. And the Irish did not want to fight in the Civil War on behalf of the Union.
That's right.
Against the Southern Confederates over the issue of slavery. So you know what the Irish did? Because they wouldn't allow blacks to fight in the military and they started drafting the Irish in New York started to attack black people. Go look up the draft riots of 1863.
That's right. Talk to him, Ali.
And we can go back further to that, into the colonial period when I can't remember, but Ali just reminded me of it, man. And we haven't addressed it. If you go back to the colonial period, that Gangs of New York era, because Ali, you was reading it one day when we was studying, and they was talking about how they brought the black kids ran them out into the street, burned their houses, and stumped the black kids' faces into the street.
Yep.
You remember that, brother? Yeah. Well, basically, that's also reflected in that movie, The Gangs of New York, when they was taking all of the freedmen out their houses, and this is way before the Civil War. You know, this is during the colonial period.
Yes, yeah, that's right. In colonial New York, yeah. A lot of people don't know that New York's history with slavery, the enslavement of Africans, and a lot of the racial conflicts that happened in New York is deep. It's deep. A lot of shit happened before the United States even became a thing, right in New York City and downtown and lower Manhattan. A lot of shit happened.
It was Irishmen that attacked those black New Yorkers of that day and time.
That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. You know, they even there was on Fifth Avenue, there was an orphanage for black children. These people came to set that orphanage on fire, trying to kill those kids in there. You know, this, but I'm just saying, this just goes to speak to people coming from other places that don't really know our plight, but then try to come in and become the leaders of movements try to then start redirecting our people into going into different ways where they don't need to be going. But a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're ignorant to who we are and what it is that we've come through in this country. And I believe Garvey suffered that same ignorance. Honestly, there was absolutely no reason for Black Americans to be in allegiance with Irish people. We were not only did they attack our people, but they also used to clash with our people over employment issues.
That's right. That's right. So, you know, let me pull this one comment up. Let me, you know, we got some detractors in the house, because this is what happens when you start to slow rotisserie and cook these sacred cows, right? So this guy, Kyrie P, says, look, because you are approaching a critique of Garvey from a fake ADOS angle, you are missing the context. But carry on, bros. First and foremost, we're not approaching anything from any ADOS angle, because we're not ADOS and we don't rock with that organization or that group or that name. We are freedmen and the descendants of freedmen. And the history is clear about Garvey's dealings. We are citing Garvey's own words. Context can be skewed in many different ways according to how a person chooses to stretch the truth, lie, or simply stand upon the historical records. What we're doing here today is standing upon the historical records and then giving our opinion of what we think about that. Because how do you align with the Irish? When the Irish, are you skipping past the Irish in America to talk about Irish freedom fighters over in Ireland? Because no intellectual would seek to do that. They would say, well, the Irish here are trying to be a part of the white race because they were not initially included as being a part of the white race at all in the United States of America, just like the Italians were. And yet, these were the people that were attacking us. Garvey made some questionable statements when it came to our people that we just read. And we're going to get a little bit deeper into this topic. So where we going next with this, brothers?
Let's go with the and I'm glad the brother is saying that, because because you know, whenever somebody says something, then y'all know that we got to go a little bit deeper. Let's go to the Jim Crow statements, the pro Jim Crow statements that he said about our people, you know, that this being a white country and that the white man, you know, should, you know, want to be separate and don't want Negroes around them or something like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I mean, we covered so much that if we can, let's pull up some of those statements and go into that, you know, because that also ties into the other two guys that, you know, we basically call the like that brother Reed was saying. You know, a lot of that stuff is the beginning of problems, because Marcus Garvey and a lot of the problematic things he did, which I don't think that he was necessarily a evil person, but in something that he shouldn't have been in. But his ideologies gave birth to some of the things that Noble Drew Ali said, that once again was mission drift, which evolved to the things that Elijah Muhammad said, which was mission drift from the positions that the freedmen should have been taking. And like that brother so eloquently said, that's why we freaking 100 years behind. Because a lot of our people in some shape, form, or fashion adopted a lot of this bootstrapperism and all of these different things from all three of these men, or each of them individually.
Right. And one of the important points, brother Kari, what's brother Kari P, you got to think about this. One of the things that Garvey brought that is not a part of our it wasn't a part of our psyche, it wasn't a part of our character, is the idea that we should flee our country. That's not who we are by and large. Now you have people, and I know you're gonna say, oh, well, there's people who left the South and went to the North, or there were people who left the United States and went to Canada, right? Trying to flee racial terrorism and oppression and slavery. But the large majority of us stayed here. The large majority of us didn't go to Liberia. The large majority of us did not go to Sierra Leone. You see what I'm saying? The large majority of us didn't go to Nova Scotia. The large majority of us did not go to the Caribbean. The large majority of us stayed here. And even our movement within the United States is still within the country. And the only reason that it was done was for the purpose of upward mobility and to try to move away from the racial terrorism and the theft and the destruction of the Europeans in the South, so that they could try to position themselves in a way to economically move forward and to politically move forward, right? And so the Enlightenment was happening in the North. The opportunities was in the North. It was in Philadelphia, it was in Detroit, right? Motown, the Motor City, Detroit, Chicago. You understand what I'm saying? New York City with the Harlem Renaissance. So the people who were having their land stolen from them in the South, some of them had no choice but to move north and to try to become more progressive, right? So that's what that was. We didn't flee the country. This thing about leaving, going to Africa, that's something that wasn't really native to us. Even when the whole Liberian project came up, most of our people was against that. They didn't want to do that. They didn't want to do that. Go ahead, brother.
We got Brother Logic on, but you brought up Africa, so I think this is a good time to segue. Another man that came from the islands, a brother that I deeply, deeply respect, Hubert Harrison. If somebody is coming from the Caribbean and they ask me, what can I do to help and how can I help, I'll I'll give them this book first, so you can see what a true ally, right, in the racial sense of the connection means. This man that understood that you got to separate race from class. You have to. So and this guy went at Du Bois, the talented 10th.
I would like to respond to Doc Phyllis' comment, to his question and comment when you finish.
Right. Okay, cool. So let me read this real quick.
Yo,
right?
Abba, before you get to Hubert Harrison, let me just say something real quick. So, like, the problem, I don't know what all y'all covered tonight, right? But we have to understand and really look into these people that we have heralded as heroes and understand what happened historically with our people. See, once you demand specificity as a lineage and as a political framework, you have to start understanding how you got from being specific in the first place, because there was a specific movement happening right after the Civil War.
Talk to him.
You understand? The freedmen knew what needed to be done. Graham, do you still got those stats for all those statesmen the freedmen made right after the Civil War? And we knew what needed to be done. Frederick Douglass knew what needed to be done. Robert Smalls, Hiram Revels, like all these different states, they knew what needed to be done. And then we didn't just immediately flee from the South and go north.
That's right.
When the Civil War ended, most of us stayed in the South. In fact, the majority of our people still live in the South right now. You understand? And so even when the migration happened and we were forced from the South and we had to escape domestic terrorism and state oppression, right? Those are still our states of origin. That's where we come from. And in those states, the people that we were developing were mission focused. You get these foreigners, right? And that's not a derogatory statement. They're not connected to the freedmen story and the freedmen history.
That's right.
They come from colonialism in the Caribbean or in Africa or wherever it may be, right? They don't come from what we come from. And what their idea, right? They was able to mesmerize our people and get large followings. Great. but their idea of what needed to be done was totally different from what grassroots foundational Black Americans were doing. We were doing civil rights justice work here in America. We wrote the book on civil rights. Every major civil rights movement was Freedman inspired and led. You understand?
Every civil rights movement around the world was influenced by the Freedmen.
That's right.
Yes, but it's specifically the 1866 Civil Rights Act, the 1864, 65, the 1964, the 1965, and the 1968 Civil Rights Act, right? We're the ones who created the 14th Amendment. If it wasn't for the freedmen, you wouldn't have no 14th Amendment. There would be there would be no constitutional language talking about birthright citizenship that all these other immigrants come and they hook in and have anchor babies with. There wouldn't even be none of that. There wouldn't be no 15th Amendment. You understand? There wouldn't be a 13th Amendment. Although that's we got to do a breakdown on what the 13th Amendment really is, right? And its legislative
Oh
history
yeah, definitely.
Right? And so what we got to understand is we have deviated from the freedman path that was set up by freedmen statesmen who were fighting, bleeding, dying, and killing to get liberty, justice, and the American way of life here in this country that our ancestors built. And so you have these people who are not tied into that, and what they're trying to do is not further that plight, but their plight is totally different. They want to take us to where they come from and do what we've done here, there, and create an America in Jamaica, or create America in Ghana, or they say if they can do it for these white folks, they can do it for us. So that's what they trying to do. Those Marcus Garvey ushered in mission drift in a way that we hadn't seen until he had come.
That's right.
Ultimate mission drift. The Freedmen was about getting our fair share of America free, and so nobody really got back on track until Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King came back and got us back on track doing civil rights justice work.
And what happened?
You know if you're on track or not.
And what happened, right? He got attacked by other people who were connected to Garvey's mission drift.
Yes, facts.
So
I know I don't like it tonight, but it's the truth now.
It's the truth.
It's the truth.
You know, sometimes you gotta take your scoldings and take your truth. It is what it is. So I want y'all to go in. I want y'all to go in tonight. But I want to read this real quick, and then I
think Ali wanted to address somebody's comment.
He is. I'm gonna read this. He can address the comment, and then we can get into what Ali has pulled up, the Garvey Must Go campaign. So he could lead right into that. By the 1920 convention, now this is talking about Hubert Harrison. It says by the 1920 convention, however, a campaign was underway to have Harrison dismissed from the editorship of the paper. For those that don't know, this man, Hubert Harrison, made Garvey's The Negro World newspaper the intellectual force for blacks back in those days, what it was. Harrison, in turn, was highly critical of Garvey and worked against him. His criticisms concerned the extravagance of Garvey's claims, his ego, the conduct of his stock-selling schemes, and his political practices. Though Harrison continued to write columns and book reviews for the Negro World into 1922, their political differences grew, and he sought to develop political alternatives to Garvey. Because you know, when people get egotistical, you got to find a way to divorce yourselves from those type of people. But anyway, in particular, Harrison urged political action in terms of electoral politics, attempted to build an all-black Liberty Party to run African-American candidates for political. Now, this man is from the islands. Let me start that over. In particular, Harrison urged political action in terms of electoral politics. These are the things that Garvey wasn't doing. Attempted to build an all-black Liberty Party to run African-American candidates for political offices, including the presidency. consistently maintained the position that African Americans' principal struggle was in the United States, and that they should therefore not seek to develop a state in Africa, opposed imperialism, and did not seek an African empire, argued that Africans, not African Americans, would lead struggles in Africa, vociferously opposed the Ku Klux Klan, who Garvey met with, and we're going to get into that as well, and favored reason, science, and fact-based knowledge over emotional appeals and exaggerated claims to the masses, i.e. cult leader-isms. So
right.
That's from
and
to
yeah, brother Carrier, it wasn't just, see, the crazy thing about your comment, you saying it was other Caribbeans that had complaints about or criticisms about Garvey, but it wasn't just them. There was a whole campaign with A. Philip Randolph and a couple of other guys, man, that where African Americans had some problems with what he was saying and doing. You understand? It wasn't just Caribbean immigrants that had problems with what he was doing. And to the other brother, I forget his name, Doc something. What is his name? I wanted to answer because he said, "What are we going to do?" But actually, Logic kind of answered it already when he talked about what it was we were already doing.
Right.
So he's saying, "What are you going to do?" No, what have we already been doing? See, that's the thing. It's not even about. He said that our usefulness to this empire is it doesn't exist anymore. The fact of the matter is that's not true. That's not true. We are a big part of this economy. They depend on us.
Well, we saved this country over and over again.
We saved this country. Go ahead.
Yo, yeah. Not only that, right? He says our value is like not there anymore. It doesn't exist. Not only that, right? He said that what he doesn't understand is when he asked, "What are we going to do?" And you told him what we always been doing. But what is that? That's civil rights justice work. You understand? We are the best at civil rights justice work. That's all you got to do. Do what your ancestors did. What did they do? Civil rights justice work. When I don't know how y'all get into a mindset where we don't know what we need to do. Let me help you out. Whenever you're stuck not knowing what to do, think about Fannie Lou Hamer and do what Fannie Lou Hamer did. You understand? Whenever you get stuck and you don't know what to do, how about you turn on Be the Power? And we're giving out divine instructions weekly on what you need to do. But when it's all said and done, it wraps around. Until we get our fair share in this country, we are to continuously, perpetually, generationally be doing civil rights justice work in this country, because the history proves that we are the very best and most successful at it.
That's right.
Yeah, we know about Richard B. Moore and a lot of those guys you're talking about. The name Negro and its evil use. We know about that. But here's the thing, right? Just to the point, you have other, to the brother's point, you had other Caribbeans with them as well, particularly those of it was a group that was working inside the UNIA called the African Blood Brotherhood with people like Claude McKay, right, who was also of the Caribbean. Another man by the name of Cyril Briggs, who was also of the Caribbean, right? And they also, even though they were working within the UNIA at a certain point, they also had ultimately wound up having a problem with Garvey as well, based on some of Garvey's problematic statements, right? See, we're not making this stuff up. And it's not, and to Kari's other point, initially he was saying it was an ADOS thing, but now he's acknowledging that other Caribbean people also had a problem with this man and found a lot of the stuff he was saying and doing problematic as well. So the brothers of the African Blood Brotherhood, the ones I just mentioned, they wound up having a problem with him as well because of his meeting and affiliation with the Ku Klux Klan in 1921. You understand those statements that he made with them? you know, about black people and his relationship with them and stuff. So they wind up having a problem with him as well, right?
That's
The
right.
failure of his Black Star Line company and looking to the Ku Klux Klan to help finance the Black Star Line and get it back going. No, so a lot of these people had problems, and it wasn't just Caribbean people. So that, you know, that's just not the truth, you know, and we're not looking at it from no one single perspective. We're just dealing with the truth of what this man was saying and doing, and how it was problematic, not just for African Americans,
So hold
but
on,
also
let me
Caribbeans
pull
that
this
were here
up.
too.
But Logic, before you go in, let me pull this up. The brother Joel Armstrong has been having a problem with everything that we read. So he wants us to retract stuff until he can find it. You should already know everything about Marcus Garvey, because it seems like you have a deep reverence for this man. So you obviously didn't do good enough research prior to tonight's live stream, or else you would know what the critiques and criticisms of Marcus Garvey was. You would know his own words. We're giving references. We're not retracting anything. That sounds absolutely crazy.
Well, no, listen.
Well, let me just throw this in there real quick, Ali, and I'll give it right back to you. So this really speaks. I'm glad we got to keep echoing where the disconnect lies at while we go through this tonight, so it's not lost, right? How does Marcus Garvey think that, like, see, a freedman wouldn't make this mistake, right? Why would you think that it's a clever idea to cozy up to the Ku Klux Klan, right? Knowing their history in America and how our people been battling groups like the Ku Klux Klan and the Bushwhackers and the Midnight Marauders and the Red Shirts and the Rifleman Club. Like, we've been actually having
White League, that's right.
Wars fighting these people. Blood has been shed. And you think it's a good idea. See, that's a man who's disconnected from that. He doesn't have any ancestors that was hung by the Ku Klux Klan, or else he wouldn't have his ass up there doing business with them. He didn't have any uncles and cousins and aunts and grandmothers that was raped by Ku Klux Klan members and groups of the like. That's how you get there. There's a disconnect. So when you come from somewhere else, you do shit like say, let me work with the Irish who ain't never been our friends in America, right? And show them reverence. There must be the way. Let me partner with them. No, let's partner with the Ku Klux Klan whose whole entire outfit is stained with our ancestors' blood. There is a disconnect. That's how you know. That's not one of us. Anybody who was
did we pull up the pro-Jim Crow statements yet?
No, not yet.
I don't know.
You muted, Ali. So
my bad.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna look for it now.
Ali, you want to pull this screen up?
Which one? I don't even know what I have up. What I have? Oh yeah. The Garvey Must Go campaign.
Wait, hold on. Grim, is this the one you talking about with the pro Jim Crow statements?
This one has something in it.
Okay,
it definitely has something in it.
Okay, let's go. Wait, hold on. To Marcus Gracie, you might have to go back to the beginning. You're spamming right now. All we do is sources. We're pulling up sources. We're pulling up quotations with the citations that they're derived from. Chill, fam. Pay attention, or just wait till the stream is over and go back and watch it from the beginning. But all we're doing is sources. Go ahead, brother Ali.
All right. So this here, just let me move it back so he can see where this is coming from. This is an article about the Garvey Must Go campaign that was done in PBS, right? Public Broadcasting System, service, whatever. I'm just going to read a part of it, right? About this Garvey Must Go campaign that wound up taking effect and ultimately, I guess, helped to lead to his deportation. When Marcus Garvey first arrived in the United States in 1916, he quickly found his way to many of New York's most prominent Black radical activists and intellectuals, and at least briefly, Garvey enjoyed their support. But by 1920, A. Philip Randolph and other Black leaders, some of whom had supported Garvey after his arrival in the United States, came to believe that Garvey's program for Black advancement was unsound and that Garvey himself was a charlatan. Though they admired his skill as a propagandist, these prominent Black critics derided Garvey's proposed solutions for the problems of African Americans. They believed that his plans for Black progress, including the Black Star Line and the establishment of a Pan-African empire, were unrealistic and ill-advised. They considered the Universal Negro Improvement Association's grandiose titles and military regalia to be preposterous, and they thought Garvey, with his assumption of a regal posture under the title Provisional President of Africa, to be little more than a self-aggrandizing buffoon. A. Philip Randolph, who had introduced Garvey to his first American audience on a Harlem street corner, said Garvey had succeeded in making the Negro the laughingstock of the world. The federal investigations into the finances of Black Star Line, along with a blistering analysis of the shipping line by W.E.B. Du Bois in the NAACP's Crisis magazine, gave fuel to Garvey's Black critics. Randolph personally critiqued the economic feasibility of the Black Star Line in The Messenger, an influential magazine he co-edited with Chandler Owen, and accused Garvey of squandering the hard-earned money of his hardworking, poor supporters. Black opposition to Garvey coalesced into what came to be known as the Garvey Must Go campaign. Supporters of the campaign, known collectively as the Friends of Negro Freedom, intended to unmask Garvey as a fraud before his Black supporters. They also appealed to the federal government to step up investigations of irregularities in the Black Star Line and to look into alleged acts of violence on the part of Garvey's inner circle. The Garvey Must Go campaign gained momentum after Garvey held a secret meeting with Edward Young Clark, the leader of the Ku Klux Klan, in June of 1922. Immediately afterward, Randall and Owens' Messenger magazine published an article entitled "Marcus Garvey, the Black Imperial Wizard, becomes messenger boy of the white Ku Klux Klan." Black leaders were further infuriated when they learned that Garvey, at a speaking engagement in New Orleans, remarked that because Black people had not built the railroad system, they should not insist on riding in the same cars with white patrons.
Now, we got the quotes too. We found the quotes to all of that stuff.
Right, the actual quotes. So let me just read this paragraph and then I'll stop. The Messenger vowed to begin a rigorous editorial campaign against Garvey and promised to fire the opening gun in a campaign to drive Garvey and Garveyism in all its sinister viciousness from the American soil. The campaign from this point on was characterized by vitriolic personal attacks on both sides and by escalating threats of violence. Garvey Must Go meetings were violently dispersed by Garvey's followers. A. Philip Randolph
like they doing in the chat. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's all good. We ain't going nowhere. Ain't nobody running us nowhere.
That's a fact.
A. Philip Randolph received the severed hand of a white man in the mail. It was, you see, it was accompanied by a note signed by the KKK, but Randolph believed the hand had been sent by the UNIA. I'm gonna stop sharing that, because I'm gonna find too, and y'all could go in from there if y'all want to talk about that a little. I'm gonna find the actual news article where that was at and the quote that he made. Go ahead, bro.
I just want to say that the most interesting thing about that, right, and how it compares to what is continuously going on, and obviously was kind of like what's launched this whole type of thing to happen here, right? And what I'm talking about is, in that article, you talked about how Philip Randolph introduced Garvey to his first American audience, Freedman audience, yes, right? Yep. And so instead of Garvey, right, he meets A. Philip Randolph, who's already engaged in Freedman justice work, right? We already got an agenda. We've been here. We know what we're supposed to do. Here comes a man who ain't been here but a couple months, and now he's taking over the movement. Look at that. Taking over the Freedmen. What kind of arrogance and disrespect is that to the Freedmen? And see, they continuously do us like that. That's why they come here now and feel comfortable talking about our reparations, talking about everything that ain't got nothing to do with them. That's the same thing Garvey did when he came over here. And just instead of joining the brothers and the Freedmen saying, how can I help y'all brothers? How can I assist? And how can I get behind you brothers? No. Y'all get out the way. Y'all don't know what y'all need to do for yourselves. I know what needs to be done. That is ultimately disrespectful. And what the get Garvey out campaign needs to not. It was needed then,
and it's needed now. Talk to him.
The only difference is Instead of getting Garvey out of the country, you need to get him out of your mind. His philosophies and their opinions have been crippling to the freedmen justice plight.
And let me say something, because somebody brought up something in the chat, and I brought up the triad, and I call them the triad. Marcus Garvey gave birth to Drew Ali, so to speak. Drew Ali gave birth to Elijah Muhammad, and we talk about the three sources of mission drift because those three men are chiefly responsible for basically a philosophy that a lot of our people hold on to in regards to the mission of the freedmen, you know, and this, you know, a lot of bootstrapperism, I mean, a whole lot of different things. We talk about them all the time, brothers, but I just want to talk about the triad, because we talking about the fact that Marcus Garvey met with the Ku Klux Klan, right? And the triad, everybody in the triad of Garvey, Drew Ali, and Elijah Muhammad all had some shape, form, or fashion of some type of relationship with the Ku Klux Klan. Y'all just read the Garvey Must Go campaign, which a lot of the freedmen leaders of our leaders at that time was upset with Garvey because he was he met with the Klan and was leading in that direction. So we also have a statement by Noble Drew Ali that was basically pro-Klan. And Naheem probably can quote it word for word, but Noble Drew Ali said, when I go to the South, I'm going to meet the Ku Klux Klan. But what he said, but what he said, but they're going to take me to where I need to go.
The oral saying says that I am doing the South. When I get there, it is going to appear as if the Klan is going to stop me. Then they are going to lead me where I am going.
Right. So here you got a pro Ku Klux Klan statement from Garvey Garvey meeting them. We got Noble Drew Ali with the pro-Klan statement, and we already discussed on previous shows Noble Drew Ali's pro Jim Crow, pro Confederate statements. And then we also have the philosophy and the teachings of Elijah Muhammad that are in accord with Garvey as far as separation and anti-Americanism and also with them, you know, via Malcolm X. I'm not, you know, but I'm sure it was sanctioned by Elijah Muhammad, or I should just say the Nation of Islam also met with the Ku Klux Klan. So, you know, we got the triad, and what they all got in common, they all got in common that in some shape, form, or fashion, they were either pro-Jim Crow esoterically, or they had met with the Klan.
Ooh,
that's a fact.
Ain't that how you do, Grim?
That's a
Hey, yo. And see, like, I think the brother said, hold on, let me read his comment. How can you argue? Yeah, it's a bunch of them. He said, how can you argue Garvey's Caribbeanness to be a weakness while championing Harrison, the Caribbean immigrant? Well, that's a false statement. Like, nobody was arguing his Caribbeanness as his weakness. What we're talking about is him being.
Nobody championed Hubert Harrison. The only champions are the freedmen.
That's
Hubert Harrison was Abba said that is an ally.
That's right.
He pointed out, he was pointing out that he was an ally and knew how to play his position.
That's
what he was saying. Yeah. It didn't say anything about him being a Caribbean. He said that this particular Caribbean knew how to play his position when the other Caribbean did not.
Here's one. Let's address this.
Yeah. I've seen that one.
Baruti Katimbo says BTP seems xenophobic against blacks from other countries. What you said, Logic. So there are lots of. Wait, hold on. Let me read it, Grim. There are lots of African Americans that support Garvey. So again, on balance, you should have a scholarly African American who supports Garveyism. We don't mind having anybody up here that supports Garveyism, scholarly or not, you're not going to get around the facts that are being presented here tonight, and that a lot of what Garvey said leaned pro-Confederate. He met with the Klan.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I'm saying, like, she's saying that we need to have somebody like that on this program right now. That's what she's saying.
Yeah. He or she.
But what difference does it make? It doesn't even make no difference.
Yeah, and it does. Not only does it not make a difference, but it's not. Nobody like that's a part of tonight's program. You don't come into class and tell the teacher you should have such and such in here teaching with you. That ain't how nothing works. If you don't like this education, if it's too potent for you to handle it, go to another channel. We are given nothing but the facts every night, all night, whenever BTP is on live.
Man, ain't nobody no xenophobe, man.
But Graham, listen. They want to use that as a card that they can play.
I realize that. I recognize that. But man, look, the bottom line, ain't nobody no xenophobe.
I am. Logic is.
But hold on. But the bottom line is that the facts are basically being pointed out in regard to these things, because Garvey, number one, didn't understand our relationship with the Irish from before the slave trade through the slave antebellum slave period, all the way to his time. He didn't understand that. He just knew he admired those people and those mission and their mission that they had going on in their land. He didn't understand our relationships with the Ku Klux Klan. So I mean, we can't go over there. But let me say this, man, about this universal blackness, man.
That's right.
I get it. And we know that there is an aspect of the mission where universal blackness does and can come into play. We're not saying that is not the case. But what we're saying is that this particular Caribbean man was out of order and out of place, and he was dealing in the affairs that he had no business dealing with, as far as leading the freedmen away from the mission. The mission was set. The mission was already set by our father, Frederick Douglass. You follow what I'm saying? The father of the nation. You know, we just had to keep moving on and pressing into that direction. But yet you had a contingency of people who spent their hard-earned money on a man who bought some raggedy ships that wasn't even seaworthy to make a trip to Africa.
That's right.
We talking about a man who kept saying back to Africa, whose ships failed. You understand what he's saying? Whose ships failed, who basically, well, we can get into this if y'all want, brothers. He basically was convicted of the crime, and he was exiled from the country. You could say he was set up and things of that nature.
He was guilty.
But basically he was sent to Jamaica, right?
Come on.
Exiled to Jamaica.
That's right.
Lived in Jamaica, right? Then he had hard financial times. He took the rest of his wife's savings and inheritance, and then squandered that in Jamaica, right? And after that, in all of his ventures in Jamaica being unsuccessful, this man then got on a boat and then went and moved to England, and then he started getting mixed up in the affairs of the English black people. Right? and lived the rest of his life in England, getting mixed up in the affairs of the black Englishmen. And then on top of that, we talk about a man, and listen to this. We talk about a man who could have, but never ever set foot in Africa after teaching a back to Africa.
Bro, I would ask the brother Kari, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. why didn't Garvey go to Liberia? Why did Garvey never go to Liberia? I know why he didn't go to Liberia, but I would like for Carrie to tell me why Garvey never went to Liberia.
And we could send a link if y'all want. We could.
In one of his fiercest, and I just want to continue and say, one of his fiercest critics, W.E.B. Du Bois, he even went after a while and moved and lived in Africa.
That's right.
And he was a critic of Garvey.
That's right.
And he moved to Africa and lived in Africa. But we had the greatest components of this Pan-Africanism, back to Africa ideology, and he never stepped foot on the continent. Not one. Not a toe in the water.
Nope. The triad that Grimm talked about, they all had that in common, and what they all had is a major hand in aggregating blackness, right? We were specific after the Civil War. We were the freedmen. We knew who we was. Then they come with this, we the lost tribe of Shabazz nonsense. Everybody's Moroccan and Moorish American. See, getting further and further off the path. Garvey, everybody's an African. Africa for the Africans. We stopped being Africans a long time ago. We freedmen.
when they kicked our ancestors off that continent, that's when we stopped being that shit.
And we knew it. We knew who he was. And we were doing all kind of miraculous work. They called in 7 years. Hold up. If we read one stat, they said that in 1 year of the freedmen being emancipated, we had made 100 years of progress, right? And once these other foreign influencers come and these foreign ideas from people from not rooted in our work come here, we get further and further away from the mission, further and further away from liberty, further and further away from justice, right? Further and further away from who we are as a people in America, as Americans. They took us off of that and took us out to lunch, man.
This is coming from the book Mercer Baradaran's The Color of Money. It says they set up charities to take care of the poor and sick and to educate each other. Quote, "We have progressed a century in a year," said one freedman. So, just to, add some sources to what Brother Logic is saying. Brother Josh just jumped in. Brother Josh, what are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Man, we've been talking about this one for a while. So to do the broadcast is good to see y'all on here. It's good to have the conversation. And I think you said it was you or Ali or I can't remember who made the point of, that when he said the triad, if you notice one thing that that they had in common is that there seemed to be some type of cozying up to the Ku Klux Klan, or and I see that in the same way Logic said that we need to get that out of our minds. We need to get like that type of thinking out of our minds. Yeah, it's because what we see is eventually it's going to lead towards some type of affection and affinity to, I don't know, it's weird how this works out, right? To the neo-Confederates. Because that's what I see a lot of people in the Moorish movement, they have some type of, because of that's the viewpoint that Drew Ali held, blaming us for things that, blaming us for the position that we're in. Like we did everything to put ourselves in that position. You hear some of the statements that Garvey held, it seemed like, he might have had some viewpoints that he shared with the Ku Klux Klan from what he was saying. So I see that we did a program, I don't know if it was last year or several months ago, called White Supremacy Creeping into Conscious Black Spaces, something like that. And I see a lot of that. I just got to call it for what it is right now. I see a lot of the anti-vax stuff also. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of, I seen one image that was shared on social media. It said like colored this way. And then right underneath that in black and white in the same, like it was from the same time period of the Jim Crow era, it says unvaxxed this way. You know what I mean? And I looked at who was sharing it, and it was some white anti-vaxxing, probably neo-Confederate, or anarchist or something like that, libertarian. Like, these are similar mindsets that are we see that that have that, you can see how those things have a lot in common. They're similar mindsets, and they come from like this separation or not wanting to stay. And let me I wanted to say that, and I want to switch back to what you were talking about, Ali, about why didn't he go back to Africa? Well, it's the same reason why we didn't go back to Africa.
Liberia specifically. You could go ahead, but I got the article pulled up when we could share, and it's going to speak to exactly why he didn't go to Liberia. But go in, Josh.
Yeah, I see. That's the one I was talking about, Naeem.
This is a racist. Only a racist could put this up and get away with it in today's Black America, because a lot of Black Americans are siding with these right-wing anarchists about this vaccine that has been politicized by Trump or the Trump administration, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm seeing a lot of our people, they are joining in the chorus of going at the Democrats, right?
Yeah, well, in which we should keep pressure on them.
Right, we should keep pressure on them, but we should never join the right wing in, number one, the politicization. The politicization of a damn vaccine. Number one, if you're going to join with them, you join with them when they become reparationists. I'm watching people sharing right-wing, the propaganda from right-wing people who are against reparations. How is it that you're going to share this knowing that they have positions? It's the Garvey mindset that people don't know that they have.
Yeah, and let me say another point to that, right? What I was talking with a partner of mine who libertarian, right? Libertarian style of thinking. He was telling me how their strategy was in terms of getting people from various sides of on the right and on the left to win them into their way of thinking or to sympathize with them, right? So they said, what we'll do is we'll outright the right and we'll out left the left, right? So what they do to the left is they'll talk about how you're doing so terrible with this criminalization of the drug laws. You need to decriminalize drugs. And so if you're a person that most people looked at as like a right-wing, person, and then you're the most right-wing of right-wing, but then you're out lefting the left by, your position on criminalization is, oh, we need to decriminalize, then man, some of those people might develop some affinity for that, and they'll run with you and echo your message. And then you go turn around and go on the right and saying, well, why are you for these taxes here? Or why are you for that? Now, I can't think of a specific policy, but they that's their strategy. They outright the right and out left the left. And then you find yourself being in alignment with their messaging, not understanding like that most of these people are definitely not for your uplift and reparations. And a lot of them will share neo-Confederate sentiments along with their policy and their ideology of just leave you to starve, and let the big dog eat.
Indeed. So Ali has an article he wants to pull up. Logic. You was about to say something?
Yeah, but go let Ali go.
All right.
All right, so this is from the New York Times, right? This is an article regarding Garvey's death. And this was printed. Hold on, let me just see. Let me just see when this was. Go back. New York Times. What was this? Hold on, let me do this. And I'm gonna go back into it because I want to read. Y'all know when Garvey died, man. But anyway, this is from when he died, Joe. And this was a New York Times article. We could put the link in for people who don't believe it's real or whatever. But anyway, let me read about Garvey not going to Africa, particularly Liberia. Right in the middle of this page, you can see where it says, where Father Divine of a later day created angels and archangels among the colored population of Harlem, Garvey in his time sprinkled the area with princes and princesses, barons, knights, viscounts, earls, and dukes, and kept for himself a time the comparatively humble designation of Sir, Provisional President of Africa. There was no evidence that he had ever set foot on that continent, and the Republic of Liberia was, by announcement of his government, closed to him and his followers. He blamed the British and so Liberia didn't want him or his followers to even come over there, according to an announcement by his government, the government. Yeah.
You don't never hear him talk about that. Come on.
This is what we do here at BTP, family.
And think about this in accordance to what Ali just read. You know what I'm saying? The Constitution, man, you gotta be doing something wrong when you can't get to Liberia, because the Constitution of Liberia allows for people of the Negro race to become citizens, particularly, you know, those in America that can come there. That's all you have to do there is stay there for a specific period of time, and you can become a Liberian citizen, you know, just by virtue of race. So for them to do that to Garvey, them must show that they had some kind of serious trouble or problematic issue with Garvey and his works, man.
Let me say something to Doc Phyllis, because he asked an amazing question.
Yeah,
he first says, what is Liberia? And yes, Josh, he set it up real nice. He says, what is Liberia, and were they free of colonists? Hell no, they wasn't free. None of them people over there was free. And that's what makes this whole goddamn thing even crazier.
Come on.
Damn near all of them countries were still under colonization while this man was talking about going back to Africa. What kind of fucking sense does that make?
Yo, he wanted us to go back to Africa so we could get exterminated by Leopold. You know
Come on, man. What?
The Hitler of the Congo.
Yeah,
he was worse than Hitler.
But see, because we have romanticized the man, y'all can't even sit back and really digest these failures and the impact it has had on the freedmen people, right? And anything that, like, it's a foreign concept that he comes and infiltrates our political atmosphere with, right? We were focused, and people are coming from outside of our group and having us deviate off the path. I got to keep reiterating that disconnect. I got to keep reiterating that. We are all we have. And they didn't want him coming up over there because he going to try to take over their shit next. All the man do, he don't got no respect. You seen that, how Philip Randolph introduced him to his crowd, being a nice, good freedman. Hey, brother, come on, let me show you some people that might want to hear what you got to say. Put you on, and instead of saying, thank you, brother, how can I help the freedmen? You try to take everybody back to Africa. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Back to a colonized place.
But it's so funny. Ali, I want you to go in, but I pulled this comment up, powerful facts. But who is that in the image right there?
That's another mission drift.
Another mission drift immigrant.
Another mission drift provocateur. Instead of siding with the freedman, and he's not a freedman, instead of siding with the great Dr. King, who was the second king of the freedmen after Frederick Douglass, he come try to split the movement. And what do they all do again? They all represent aggregating the blackness, because they're specific. That's what he do. Black power. Instead of doing civil rights justice work with Dr. King and all them geniuses over there, black power, and start talking about and Dr. King really undressed that man. And where do we go from here? You don't got no program. You don't have no idea where you're trying to take the people. You're just doing a whole bunch of inflammatory rhetoric, getting the people all riled up, and you don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know what you're doing because you haven't set up underneath the freedmen long enough. And instead of being our support, you want to be out in front, and you're not even connected to this thing in the right way. They all represent that.
That's a fact. Ali, I didn't mean to cut you, bro. I just wanted to, it was so funny that I pulled that comment up, and that was the image. He asked, Stokely Carmichael, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, I didn't even see it. I missed it, man. I was zoned out, man. But
look, let me say, family, all of these people represented mission drift. Our freedmen ancestors got it more right than they got it wrong.
And talk about how Hubert Harrison said Garvey inflated his numbers, because people think Garvey's movement. Hubert Harrison said that dude didn't have the amount of followers that he made everybody think he had.
That's right. That's right. I mean, Hubert Harrison was there with Garvey. He really undressed that man in his critiques. I read one of the critiques earlier from out of the book. I'm hoping to get the author. What's this guy's name? Perry is his last name. Jeffrey B. Perry.
Yeah.
He's a great historian, and I was hoping to get him on the platform one day so we could actually talk about whiteness as a racial construct and how it led up to him even producing books on Hubert Harrison, because you got to understand the difference between race and class. And you got to understand what the Democrats, the left wing of media, have been doing to us, the foxes, right? Smiling in our faces and then getting us in the fox, whatever it's called, den, and then chewing us the pieces, right? And then doing that to us every single generation. So, we wanted to come on here and give. It's so much that we didn't even hit on yet. It's so much that we didn't hit on as of yet. And nobody can't deny the fact that we are victims of mission drift. I know that it's hard. I've been following Noble Drew Ali for the last 10 years. I've been the chief champion, but after a while, doing my own research, battling with my brothers in debates where we've had over the past year, maybe really the past 2 years, it's like you can't deny the facts if that's what you're trying to stand on. You can stand on falsehoods, sure, but these people came and took us off the path. Even though the ones that were political, like Father Divine, it was so much other mystical nonsense to him that once he left, his movement faltered. And the people didn't know how to stand on their own 2 feet because he told them that he was God that manifested on earth. Where did he manifest that, Ali?
Yo, this man, Father Divine, said he was never actually born. He said he manifested on 135th Street in Lenox Avenue.
Man, that's crazy.
So look, Kwame Ture was a true advocate for Black power. He was a Pan-Africanist and surely meant all blacks well. As I said before, BTP are xenophobes, but you probably don't realize it. Nativism produces this. Brother Logic, please address that.
Yes. And don't be upset with old Logic after you say what he got to say. But I got to keep it real, right? And what you got to understand, see, that's what they try to do. First of all, we are natives. You can call it nativism, you can call it what you want, but you're trying to turn something positive into negative, and that's a trait that we're exposing tonight that has historically always been there with people like you. You come and take things that are always have been positive for us and make them negative. There ain't nothing wrong with being a nativist. We are native Black Americans.
That's
we're
right.
Native to this country. We're the freedmen. We're the reason why you're here.
That's right.
You understand? And that you can do the things that you do. You can't shame Logic with that. And you can't come on here talking about xenophobic, because Logic don't care about none of that. I'm terrified of anything that does not contribute to the furthering the prosperity and the longevity of the freedman lineage in America. Anything that impacts that in a negative way, I'm terrified. Yes, why wouldn't I fear something that is compromising my prosperity and existence? You understand? I'm terrified of it. I have to address it. I have to look at it. And just because that makes you uncomfortable, don't change the reality of that for me. Because that is, and when you use the word xenophobic, that's white supremacy. You understand? White folks made up them type of words. You understand? Because they fear the same thing. Anything that impacts their power position negatively. You understand? Anything that impacts their existence negatively. And so you want a white supremacist, the freedman, and come and try to turn everything that we do positive into something negative, and then take over whatever we do have. Kwame Ture was wrong. Stokely Carmichael was out of pocket. And yes, it's absolutely because he's not native to here. That's the disconnect that leads him to not understanding that he's being disrespectful in the first place. If you don't know a meeting with the Ku Klux Klan is disrespectful because you don't have no family members that hung by their ropes and flesh was set on fire by their torches. Yes, it's a native
who had their
thing.
land stolen from them.
You understand? Your ancestors weren't raped by these people. You understand? So yes, it's a native thing. And we are proud natives of America. You understand? We've been fighting this good fight in this war since America was born. And you want to come over here and try to tell us how to talk about our story, how to fight for our justice, and just impose your way. You're an interloper. You understand?
That's right.
You are an interloper.
Go ahead,
Go
bro.
ahead. Man.
No, go ahead, Ali.
It's like I said in that other video, the one that's circulating a little bit. The one thing you never find is African Americans going to Haiti, telling Haitians how to do their shit, trying to teach Haitians about their Haitian history. You don't see African Americans all up in the affairs of Jamaica. You don't see African Americans all up in the affairs of Trinidad and Tobago or none of that shit like that. That's something you don't never see us doing, right? Everybody thinks that for some reason that they have the right to come here and inject themselves into our affairs, and not just doing that as an ally, but now I'm going to take over and I'm going to tell y'all what y'all are supposed to be doing with your shit. That's unprecedented, except for white people. The only people that do that kind of shit is white folks.
Yes.
We African Americans don't go to nobody's fucking country trying to tell them what to do with their shit. Everybody think they can come and do that with us though. And it ain't just black immigrants, it's Hispanic immigrants, it's white, all kind Asian immigrants. Everybody thinks that they can tell African Americans specifically how to do their business here, even
that
though
Kyrie
African
dude
Americans
just got blocked. My bad, Ali. I just blocked that Kyrie dude.
Why?
Because he said Logic is an agent. He got to go. Now you can't come back to the channel.
Kyrie, why you do that, man?
Thank you.
I didn't want Kyrie to get. I didn't want him to get blocked because I wanted to keep addressing that stuff. But I get it. I get it.
But guess who was an agent? Garvey's best friend, who was his captain of his Black Star Line.
That's right.
And that's who was an agent. You nigga, not Logic. Get the fuck out of here, man. I'm out, man. These people crazy.
Oh man.
Yeah. I just gotta say, man, look, like, this is America, and we're the freedmen. We're Native Black Americans. So, like Brother Lodge said, we got to think about what is going to impact us in a positive or negative way. And our focus is not to, like, if you are in a swimming, you got to think about this thing, right? If you're in the swimming pool and you're drowning, like you're on the bottom of the pool, right? You got a few breaths left before or whatever the case may be. You need to get yourself to the top of the pool. You need to get some air. You know what I'm saying? You need to get yourself out of the pool. How do you have time to save somebody at the bottom of another pool in another city? You don't. So why is it that, and how could, that's like you going underwater. You're going under the water and you're holding up a sign that says you know, you're selfish. You're just thinking about you're divisive, you're xenophobic. No, just come, like, work to help us get up from under at the bottom of the pool. And then when we can figure out how we can go and help some people in across town in another city or country at the bottom of a pool. Like that's what you got to understand.
Well, Josh,
we are at the bottom of the bottom, and you want us to fight an enemy, or fight in systems, defeat systems.
Let me ask you, Josh.
We can't even beat the United States.
Look. Let me ask you, right? How would things have differed if it was a freedman administration in regards to those Haitians at the border? Do you think that we would have had racist devils on horseback whipping Haitians at the border and deporting them back to Haiti, and not the illegal immigrants? What are your thoughts on that?
Come on, man. You already know that. No, sir.
That's right. So these people, they're bugged out. They don't understand the importance of what we're doing here politically, and why we can't focus on Pan-Africanism in the way that they want us to, because it's more mission drift. It takes us away from the mission. That guy Logic debated Omawali Africa. This guy we got the videos and the audios of him saying that we should never vote. It's in his blogs. Why we should never vote. This dude is an American citizen who he claims he's of freedman descent, but I mean, neither. I didn't believe it neither, right? So, I'm about to say, what the hell happened? You got two Grims on the screen. So, you know, these people are bugged out, man. These people, they don't understand what we're trying to do and why what we're doing is so important. They're trying to ideologically stretch us thin. Go ahead, bro.
This is an example. What's going on with the Haitians at the border is an example of why they need to team with those people when they come here, not just Haitians, all of them. When they come here, they should be teaming up with us and falling in line, because we the ones that understand this shit. We went through this already. All that shit y'all seen them doing to them Haitians, we went through that. Our ancestors went through that and worse.
Right.
Went through that and worse. So they should be falling in line with us instead of coming here trying to be adversarial and thinking you teaching us shit, because you're not teaching us nothing. Let's just be real clear. You can suggest all the fucking books you want, because I keep seeing niggas always, you need to read about this guy, read about that. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't change nothing. It doesn't change nothing. Reading a book that you suggest to me to read ain't going to change the facts of my history with my people in this country. I don't give a fuck what book you're telling me to read. Doesn't change nothing.
Right.
Doesn't change nothing. And you can't use that, because they always want to use that to try to seem like, you know, we're intellectually above. You're not intellectually above shit, because if you was that intellectual, you would have used all of that intellect to fix that shithole country that you came from. All right, you don't gotta be here teaching me a goddamn thing. Let me go through my shit. You go back home, go through your shit. You ain't gotta come here trying to teach me a damn thing.
Yeah, and let me say this too, right? When we think about what, like, the impact of, let's say, more immigrants coming across the border, like those people, I mean, it's interesting. They're cracking down on the Haitians coming in. Meanwhile, they bring in Afghanis on airplanes.
And real, I'm gonna let you finish, Josh. Remember,
you know where I'm going.
I brought up the other night with Sister Kelly, where she posted that bill that the Congressional Black Caucus signed for undocumented workers right here in the United States, and yet they're kicking out the blacks who are Haitian, though. Go ahead, bro. Finish your point.
And you throw that in there. If you look at it, if you look at the states that was some of the first people that signed up for them Afghanis to come in, was like Kemp.
That's right.
He was running to get some Afghanis in Georgia. And if you look at who the same red states are the ones that's trying to hurry up and get the Haitians out and make sure them Haitians don't come in. So I think they understand that if those people come, obviously they're coming in the South, whether it be Texas or whatever. But hey, those people that are coming in, they also need to go to Georgia.